Don't say that a forced melon isn't sweet. After I forced my master countless times to the nth power, he finally reached a state of enjoyment. Now, for my sake, he's like a new spring, constantly looking forward to my next forcing. Not long ago, countless powerful beings trapped me in an impossible situation, except for the old demon, who has spent his life bullying men and dominating women. You have committed countless wrongs. Did you ever think that today you would meet your end at the soul return cliff? I have hunted you for 3 years. Now, you have nowhere left to run. I, Mao Zun, remain silent. I coldly scan everyone present. At that moment, a woman's voice sounded from behind me. Chu Lama, look at how far you've fallen. I regret looking up at him. That pure, jade-like aura. I wonder what it feels like in bed. The mystery made me laugh out loud. Bo Chushio has only been cultivating for less than a century. His whole life has been spent in battle, among his peers. Except for this one. Who dares to claim invincibility? Who dares to refuse defeat? If I had to say, my only regret is that the time was too short. If I were given another 1,000 years, who in this world would dare not submit to me? Chi Mengdia's sacred sword unsheathed behind her. Since you show no remorse, don't blame us for being ruthless. In the next moment, powerful beings from all sides charged towards me with weapons raised. I quickly cast several spells with swift gestures. A sneer of contempt and disdain appeared on my lips. Everyone could feel the restless dark energy within me. They were all struck with fear. Hurry, stop him. This devil intends to use his trump card. I saw them summon the divine manifestations representing gods, Buddhas, immortals, and demons. The 3 manifestations simultaneously attacked. They unleashed 3,000 major events. For a moment, I was forcefully interrupted in my spell by that terrifying power. A low, eerie laugh escaped my mouth. It gradually turned into a mad, frenzied laughter, breaking the immortal question of immortality. The earth regrets, but there is no regret. I no longer hesitate. I continuously focus on my dantian. The next one is at the center. A massive explosion occurs. By the time the traces of the explosion disappear, everyone feels a sense of dread from the terrifying scene they just witnessed. Chu Chao, the old demon, actually exposed himself. The old man couldn't help but sigh. If he goes to the Sky Abyss Great Wall to kill the demon barbarians, he must be a mighty general of our human race. After that, dozens of powerful human warriors left this ruined flatland. At the same time, somewhere in the Tai Su sacred land, a red light shot towards the depths of Cloudy Peak. The boy lying in bed opened his eyes. The old demon is back. At least, before I, Chu Shio, crossed over, I was a novel reader. For today, I had already prepared tens of thousands of protective hands. There are even thousands of resurrection methods. Soon, I adapted to this body. I got off the bed. I quickly realized that the place I was in was the sacred land of the great ancestor. Soon, the system's prompt popped up. The reason I've been resurrected again. This time, the system gave me 2 choices. One is to continuously obtain system rewards like in my previous life. The other is to choose the steady route, hide, and secretly develop. But I've learned my lesson from my past life. So this time, I'm going to become strong enough before I act. Therefore, I decisively chose to lie low and rest. Then, I skillfully opened the information panel. Looking at the current situation of Chiwu, what leaves me speechless is, although the person I reincarnated into has the identity of the direct disciple, his talent and aura are as dark as just now. All the lofty ambitions in my mind instantly vanished into thin air. By reviewing the original owner's memories, I discovered that 10 days ago, the original owner entered a life-or-death battle because of a woman's jealousy. The result, of course, was that he was defeated with 1 blow. I was discarded like a dead dog after having my cultivation ruined. My only thought was, how miserable. But soon, I pulled myself together. Considering you gave your body to me, I will avenge you. But after cultivating for a whole half hour, I was shocked to discover that my spiritual energy actually, no change at all. Since normal cultivation isn't working, I'll have to resort to unorthodox methods. Within Jade Mist Peak, news of my death became a hot topic among the disciples. They unscrupulously belittled me, causing me, hiding nearby and eavesdropping, to involuntarily gently hold you both. I never would have dreamed. The demon you speak of has now become your master. Dr. Chinka walked over after the surgery. They respectfully saluted me. Then they asked how my injuries were. I waved my hand to tell them I was fine. Then, as if nothing had happened, I walked past them. Only then did a few of them remember my name. It seemed to be the same as the name of old Demon Chu. Then he started mocking my encounter from 10 days ago. I was unaware of their mockery. Instead, I confidently walked to my master Chi Mengdia's residence. Just like that, I walked into the main hall without any obstruction. Upon seeing me, Chi Mengdai asked if I had come to request him to heal my spiritual veins. I knelt on one knee. I lowered my head as he said. Chi Mengdai remained unmoved. She even mocked me, saying my cultivation was low but I was naturally restless. I deserved it. I coldly questioned him. My cultivation is low, don't you know why? Isn't it because you gave all the cultivation resources to my junior brothers and sisters? How can I become stronger without cultivation resources? Chi Mengdai slapped the table. Enraged, she said, it's all because of your inferior aptitude, and your unwillingness to cultivate diligently. Now you dare to blame your master? I sneered, isn't it because I share the same name as Chu Lama, that you're taking your anger out on me? Chi Mengdia's eyes flashed with killing intent, her secret exposed, but he still relented and promised to find a genius treasure to treat my injuries. I smiled and looked him over, telling him I wanted him to help me right now. I heard that, master, if your heavenly fragrance body could be used in dual cultivation with you, not only could it heal all injuries, but it would also improve cultivation potential. Chi Mengdia's voice was icy. Let me say it again, just to make sure he hears it. I deliberately leaned towards his ear. I mean, master, please cultivate with me. Chi Mengdai was so angry that she couldn't even stand. Then she summoned the heavenly fate sword. How dare you insult me? Today, I will make it clear, blurred or not. I raised my finger. He recited an incantation. The next moment, his prized long sword shattered instantly. Suddenly, his legs began to tremble. Then, his whole body went limp. He collapsed to the ground. Chi Mengdai was surprised to find that she couldn't use her great sage cultivation. I walked towards him with a chuckle. Master, please. Chi Mengdai still wouldn't relent. You dare touch me, I'll kill you instantly. I ignored her words and reached out my hand. I only spent one night with master, but my cultivation jumped directly from Chi Refinement Level 1 to Foundation Establishment Level 9, so I decided then and there to visit master every night from now on. Just now, I used the prohibition left from my past life to turn Chi Mengdai into a mortal. Didn't you say I was useless? Then let's see how pathetic you'll be as a mortal. Chi Mengdai still doesn't know what happened. He questioned me about what I had done to him. I walked up to him. I leered at him. Naturally, I turned you into an ordinary person. Then I grabbed his face. When you were chasing me, more than 10 of you, that day, I secretly used on you the reincarnation heavenly cave mother-child seal. This thing is a divine artifact given to me by the system. Don't say it's just a great sage realm artifact. Even if it were an emperor's artifact, so what? But my frivolous actions instantly ignited Chi Mengdia's anger. You really aren't afraid I'll kill you? I found it rather amusing. Then go ahead and try. Stop threatening me with your words. Then I leaned closer to his ear. What do you think your enemies will do if I tell them about you losing your cultivation? What do you think they'll do? After hearing that name, Zai Mengdi's eyes dimmed. That crazy woman will definitely kill herself. So he turned his head and agreed. You can find any rare treasure you want for me. The only condition is that you release him. I threw him to the ground. That's not what I want. He immediately understood what I meant. He shouted, no. I, a mighty great sage, would never submit to an ant like you. I can't help but sneer in my heart. In my past life, I had no grudges or enmity with you. Yet, you took part in hunting me down. Now it's time for you to pay the price. I take out a manual out of thin air. Master, this contains the method of dual cultivation. It will benefit you as well. Would you like to take a look? Zai Mengdi subconsciously glanced. But it was this glance that she could not look away from. If I cultivate this technique, perhaps I really could. Under my constant threats and temptations, Chi Mengdai gave up resisting. Soon, the system's prompt sound rang. The host actually managed to subdue their own master. Truly worthy of being the villain I chose. Reward, 1000 breakthrough points. As the system's prompts continued to ring out, my aptitude and cultivation base skyrocketed. My cultivation base leaped from mortal to chi condensation stage. I directly broke through to the foundation establishment stage. After a full 8 hours, my cultivation level has already reached the 9th level of the foundation building stage. I glanced at Chi Mengdai mockingly. Thank you, master. Chi Mengdai shouted in embarrassment and anger. You've secured the victory and kept yourself warm. You've gotten what you wanted. Can you now release the seal for me? I smiled and gave him a glance. Of course not. Don't have any useless thoughts. If you don't want others to know your cultivation is sealed, then hide it well. Speaking of which, I'm going to take out a recording crystal. You were so enthusiastic just now. I specifically recorded it. Do you want to see it? Chi Mengdai was startled. You actually kept the footage? I quickly waved my hand to calm him down. I just wanted to remind you. Don't act impulsively. Across the entire continent, the only one who can break your seal is me. If I die, you will only be a man for the rest of your life. If you don't believe it, you can have someone try. It's those images. Perhaps they will be spread. The entire continent will know your name. Watching my figure gradually fade away. May you, my disobedient disciple, die a horrible death. I refuse to believe it. You, a mere ant who doesn't even know how to show proper respect. How could you possibly have the power to seal me? I look at the moon hanging high in the sky. So much time has passed. I've reached the 9th level of foundation establishment now. Breaking through to the Wheel C realm will have to wait until next time. If we compare the Wheel C realm to wood, then foundation establishment is the process of accumulating wood. The more stable the foundation, The larger and stronger the resulting will be, the further one will travel on the cultivation path. In my previous life, it was because my foundation was unstable, that later my foundation had problems. This time, I will definitely learn from the lessons of my past life. I just don't know if the foundation establishment resources I left in the hidden valley are still there. I was just thinking about how to get there, when I found myself somehow in the African concession. It really seems like heaven is helping me. After that, I boarded an appropriately styled African, and headed to the hidden valley. Soon, I arrived at a godforsaken place. It looks like no one has been here before. I immediately bit my finger, and drew a formation on the stone. The next moment, the giant rock moved on its own, revealing the treasure that was originally hidden inside. Just as I was about to reach for the treasure chest, a most untimely voice came from behind me. Useless fool. I didn't expect to run into you again. I only took one night to break through to the foundation establishment stage, and reach the unprecedented 10th layer. Not long ago, I was just an ordinary person whose cultivation had been crippled. In order to change my fate, I found the treasure left behind by my past life. Just then, an untimely fellow appeared behind me. Isn't this just a useless waste? I didn't expect that after 10 days, you'd come out, lively as ever. It seems the Cloudy Wind sect's leader treats you well, this senior disciple of theirs, since they are willing to give you, this waste, a genius treasure to repair the wheel. See. I looked up. It was Zhang Meng, who had destroyed the original owner's foundation 10 days ago. I stepped foot onto Africa. My back was turned to him. I didn't even spare him a second glance. 10 days later, the life or death arena. We'll fight again. Zhang Meng exaggeratedly perked up his ears. What did the kid say? I didn't hear that wrong, did I? The two weaklings beside him laughed uncontrollably. This trash actually dares to challenge senior brother Zhang. He even said he wants to fight senior brother to the death. Zhang Meng raised both arms. He used the 1,000-mile sound transmission stick. Trash, 10 days ago. I spared you out of respect for Yunxia Fengzhu. I didn't kill you. Since you're so eager to die, let's meet on the life or death arena in 10 days. This agreement instantly spread throughout the entire Taizu Holy Land. That guy's a cripple now. And he dares to trouble Zhang Meng again? Meanwhile, I had already returned to Yunxia Peak by airship. I walked confidently to the entrance of Chimengye's cave. The spiritual energy here is abundant. I'll cultivate here tonight. I struck a very cool pose. Lei Hao, your disciple, is here to see you again. Chimengye's voice on the cloud platform trembled. Why are you here again? Why come so late? What do you want to do? I came to his bed. What do you think I can do? Chi Mengdai coldly said to me. Don't go too far. I grabbed his chin. I can do worse. Then I took out a prisoners. With a sweep of my hand, I threw the captives out. The next moment, red talismans burst from Chimengye's cave, instantly enveloping the entire Yunxia Peak. Chimengye's eyes widened in surprise. Could this be the ancient righteous path? I only praised her sharp eyes. Want to learn? Chi Mengdai turned her head haughtily. The genius imitated me and hummed twice. Then I'll go into seclusion. Before leaving, I took out an apple. I almost forgot that the Venerable One now has a mortal body. He still needs to eat. Seeing that he didn't respond, I stepped forward and slapped his butt. I informed the Venerable One in advance. Disciple doesn't like arrogance. Just a reminder. I've set up a sand array in the rear hall. You'd better not enter it recklessly. If you accidentally enter, and die because of it, disciple would be heartbroken. After saying this, I ignored the curses behind me. I walked slowly to the rear hall. Upon arriving at the rear hall, I took out the items from the treasure chest, the Tao Fruit of Creation and the Foundation Establishment Holy Grade. After a cultivator takes it, they can establish an incredibly strong foundation. After a mortal takes it, they can implant the lifespan of the other shore wellspring, extending it by 1,000 years. Only 3 can be produced every 10,000 years. Then I opened this book, known as the most powerful foundation building technique. With the combination of these 2 divine items, and the support of the system, across the entire continent, could there be any cultivator with a stronger foundation than mine? Then I grabbed the creation essence, and took a bite. Immediately, I felt a blazing energy merging into my bones and marrow. Then I began to operate until now. My original cultivation base at the 9th level of foundation establishment began to decline continuously, until I became immortal. The moment I became immortal, I suddenly opened my eyes. It's time to begin. I looked at the system. Without hesitation, I chose to break through. A new prompt pops up, detecting the host's cultivation of the strongest foundation establishment technique. Breakthrough point consumption increases. Estimated 1 month. 1 small cycle, consuming 100 breakthrough points per month. After consuming 900 breakthrough points, my cultivation level has once again returned to the 9th layer of foundation establishment. I suddenly opened my eyes. An inexplicable pressure manifested itself upon me. People say that those who follow established routines only ever follow the paths of their predecessors. Little do they know that breaking the mold is the true path to success. A blessing in disguise. Who knows? Destruction paves the way for rebirth. Between life and death, There is great terror. And also great opportunity. 7 days later, I opened my eyes again. At this moment, my breath was even more robust than before. The system voice appeared once again. Breakthrough complete. Congratulations, host, for breaking through to the 10th level of the pillar mechanism. It took 10 months, consuming over 1,000 breakthrough points. I merely broke through the unprecedented pillar foundation layer, and it caused a stir in the world. The intention is not over. This also caught the attention of the heavenly sword's bloody wind. Such a strong spiritual energy tide. Could it be that the swordman of Kaimengdi is about to break through? At the same time, I could feel that I had seemingly reached the limit of my physical body, but I wasn't satisfied with this. I activated it again. Today, I will break through with full strength and energy. The next moment, I soared into the air. Congratulations, host, for breaking through to a higher realm. Achieving a 10th layer breakthrough in the cycle of life. Hearing the system's voice, I was also a little surprised that the system's mechanism was triggered so easily. Suddenly, I leaped up, and using only the power of my body, I threw a punch downwards. With a loud boom, the system's reward arrived at that moment. Congratulations, host, on obtaining the primordial sacred body. I can hear the reward, but I feel nothing. Instead, I quickly stop the system. I can't take this reward at all. All that awaits me is the success prompt for fusion. I hold my head, feeling frustrated. Having broken my limits, cultivation itself requires the consumption of ocean resources. Now, with the addition of the ancient sacred body, how the hell am I supposed to play? The system kindly explained to me. The advantage of the ancient body is that it is the strongest battle body of the human race. The only drawback is that it consumes a lot of resources. Even with a sacred land, it's hard to reach. In short, the little program is just a waste of a sacred body. But to calm my emotions, the system was frantically whispering all sorts of terrible ideas in my ear. They were all bad ideas. I glanced at the system disdainfully. I'm done with its empty promises. I opened my character sheet. My aptitude had changed to balanced. My luck was still the same. But I can now kill the child of destiny and absorb their luck. As for combat power, it's 19 times that of those at the same level. I chanted the dust-clearing incantation, removing the impurities from my body. At the same time, I accepted this fact in my heart. Luckily, I possess the treasure of a heavenly fragrant saint body. Master will just have to endure a little hardship. Thinking this, I hummed a little tune and walked towards the front hall. Chi Mengdai hadn't yet realized the impending crisis. Nibbling on a bright red apple. Is it delicious? Chi Mengdai instinctively replied, yes, it's delicious. Then, her eyes filled with fierce light. It's you, you ungrateful disciple. What are you doing here again? I stood behind her. It's been a few days since we last met. Feels like it's been 3 years. Of course, it's because I missed my master. Saying this, I lowered my head and sniffed at him. Master, when was the last time you bathed? He looked at me with a bit of embarrassment and annoyance. Isn't it because you took over the back room? I wanted to wash, but there was no place to do so. I took Chimengye's small hand. Then let me punish myself by bathing you. After I finished speaking, I grabbed him and walked towards the back hall. Arriving at the back hall, I threw him onto the bed. His heavenly fragrant body truly is as rumored. He hadn't bathed for days. Yet he remained spotless. His skin was like ice and jade. I grabbed his hand and kissed the back of it. It's all because my disciple's aptitude is too poor. Let your disciple serve you well. Chi Mengdai knew resistance was futile. After cursing the wicked disciple, she turned her head. At this time, a gust of wind came from outside the hall. The sect leader is waiting outside for the martial arts competition. Has junior sister Mengdai finished her seclusion? Senior brother Tianqing, please forgive me. I ran into a problem while cultivating. I can't meet with my senior brother today. After a round of intimacy, I turned to the system. This time's reward is a mystic weapon, the exorcising sword. Tianqing is still waiting outside the door, not hiding. He even took out a bottle of 7th grade healing pills. Mengdai replied with a trembling voice. No need, I'll be fine after a few days rest. Tianqing responded with a hint of disappointment. Junior martial sister, have you heard that your disciple, Chu Xiu, has challenged Zhang Meng to a life or death duel in the arena? If he loses again this time, I'm afraid it will damage the reputation of your Yunxia peak. I already know about this. But I can't control that unruly disciple. Let him be. Tianqing takes out a light weapon. It was my fault, senior brother. Then play a tune to apologize to junior sister. Inside the room, I've already ended the battle. Gently floating around master's hair. Kaimengdi bit her teeth in humiliation. I was actually talking to senior brother Tianxia just now, while seeing his appearance. I can't help but find it amusing. Master, considering how hard I worked just now, it wouldn't be too much to ask for more cultivation resources, right? The system popped up again. Host, you're truly the most shameless man I've ever seen. You actually plan to have it both ways, playing and taking. As a reward, here's 500 for your breakthrough. Chi Meng Dai never imagined that his so-called schemes were nothing but a game I planned. Not long ago, after I finished dual cultivating with the world-honored one, I casually asked him for some cultivation resources, but all I got were mostly ordinary pills of the 4th and 5th rank. Chi Meng Dai glared at me with hatred. If you unseal all my cultivation, I can definitely give you the best spiritual herbs and treasures. I directly ignored his request, grabbed the pill, and turned to leave. I'm dragging around a scumbag. After I left, Chi Meng Dai couldn't help but consider asking the Saint Lord for help, but she quickly dismissed the idea. If even the Holy Lord cannot break my seal, and if that rebellious disciple notices, then will I have to live my whole life as a mere mortal? Then, Chi Meng Dai took a fox demon mask from her chest. Fortunately, that guy didn't notice. Though the Bronze Lake can't restore my cultivation for now, wearing this can help conceal my aura. As long as I don't come into contact with others, and remain sealed off, my cultivation will be safe. Speaking of which, after killing the old demon and the stone's fall, in 100 years, I could become a respected figure. I truly am a genius. It's just a pity that I practiced the demonic path. Then, Chi Meng Dai put the mask on her face, hoping to break free from that rebellious disciple's control as soon as possible. Little did she know, the moment Chi Meng Dai put on the mask, I had already noticed. But at least she finally put it on. Father, I have put in all my effort. If you don't hide yourself well, how could I feel at ease developing in the Tai Su sacred land? Then, I took out the exorcising sword I obtained during my dual cultivation with my master. There are still 3 days until this arena rises, although the quality is a bit lacking, but it's better than nothing. 2.5 seconds later, a red phantom shadow extended from my body. The system's voice followed. Congratulations, host. You have comprehended the realm. Begin seeking. After that, I controlled my spirit body to fly toward the sky. It continued until I reached around 9,990 meters. The surrounding scene suddenly became clear. I looked at the red pillar of light in front of me. Is this the suggestion? So I decisively chose to comprehend the suggestion. The next moment, a divine thought shot from the red pillar of light toward my forehead. When I opened my eyes again, there was a red mark on my forehead. Congratulations, host, you have successfully found the doctor. Obtained the original 5 great suggestions, the heavenly killer sword. I nodded in satisfaction. Not bad, this suggestion is worthy of me. Then I flew back to my cave dwelling on my sword. Next, I just need to use the system to break through the sword intent. The life and death arena will be a sure win. At the same time, Tai Su sealed off my actions of seeking the sword intent, attracting the attention of the Holy Lord Tai Su Z. When I saw that I had actually reached 9,999 meters, Tai Su couldn't help but exclaim in surprise, because in the past 30,000 years, the only one to reach such a realm was the former quasi-earth sword god of the endless sword domain. Soon, the day of the life and death battle would arrive. At this moment, the fog-filled arena was already crowded with spectators. They saw Ling Yun walking slowly, yawning. It's quite lively. The person next to him crossed his arms. I heard senior brother broke through to the divine ability realm. Congratulations. Seeing Ling Yun's indifferent expression. It's just the divine ability realm. What's there to be proud of? Then, he looked at Su Tianjin, also a true disciple of Tianjian Peak, with some surprise. I thought you wouldn't come to such a boring place. This is all my fault. Of course I'll come. Besides, I don't want Chu Xiu to die here. After hearing this, Jian Lingyun's face turned incredibly gloomy. What's so good about that good-for-nothing? To actually be favored by junior sister. A disciple nearby immediately mocked. Save Chu Xiu. That weakling's level. I'm afraid they'll be eliminated as soon as they step onto the stage. I just don't understand how someone like that could be the grand senior brother of Yunxia Peak. A female fan walks by, praising and putting others down. Is this the kind of teaching your sect leader promotes? At this moment, someone in the crowd recognized her identity as the 5th senior sister of Yunxia Peak. Tao Yao suddenly. A voice came from the crowd. It was Chu Xiu. Chu Xiu is here. I swept over the crowd from above. Tao Yao saw this. She immediately ran over. She sweetly called out, Senior brother. Senior brother, don't be afraid. Your junior sister is here. No one can hurt you now. I pat his head. I have a clear idea in my mind. You won't get hurt. But he still looks worried. He's afraid something might happen to me. I gently reassure him. Then I turn my head away. So that's the woman the original owner liked? She's quite pretty, indeed. It's just that her cultivation is a bit lacking. Su Tianjin muttered to himself. Why do I feel like Chu Xiu has changed into a completely different person? Zhang Meng approached Jian Lingyun and whispered. Wait here for a moment. Should I still make a move? The killing intent in Jian Lingyun's eyes was clear. Of course, it must be a deadly strike. Yin Yu Zhang Meng stepped onto the stage first. Since you're here, come over quickly and die. I'm in a hurry to cultivate. I chuckled softly. Let him wait for me. I have something else to say. Every time I duel with someone, I'll set up a gambling table, a temporary one in a big casino, letting those idiots who want to see me fail lose all their gemstones. And this despicable act of mine even received positive feedback from the system. I was rewarded 300 breakthrough points. Jian Lingyun saw the treasures I took out. I was immediately tempted. He asked how I wanted to hide. I touched my chin and clicked my tongue twice. Perhaps you all don't know the value of 6 7th grade top quality heavenly profound pills. Then I looked at the Tianqing Peak elder, who was dumbfounded. You should understand their value, right? To save face, the elder immediately stepped forward to explain that one alone is worth 1 million high-grade spirit stones. 6 pieces equals 6 million high-quality spirit stones. Hearing the elder's words, a collective gasp echoed through the hall. I smiled and looked at everyone. Don't be so nervous. If one person can't afford it, everyone can pool their resources together. We'll divide the profits proportionally at the end. Hearing these words, everyone was exceptionally delighted. This is simply a free stone of raw gems. They all began taking out their savings. I'll bet my divorce certificate. Me too, me too. I couldn't help but smile at them. What a bunch of naive fools. So I turned to the crowd and said, this bet will be guaranteed by Elder Tian Xiefeng. No one dares to refuse to settle the score. After saying that, I jumped straight onto the ring. Zhang Meng looked at me disdainfully. You're finally here. I thought you wouldn't dare come up. I gave a cold smile. How could that be? After all, between you and me, it's a fight to the death. In the next moment, golden energy illuminated the entire ring. Jian Lingyun looked at the ring with full confidence. The good show begins. Zhang Meng sneered, I'm already at the peak of Will See Realm, 9th level. Dealing with you, a Will See Realm, 4th level waste, is more than enough. He pushed off the ground forcefully. Turning into a lightning bolt, he charged at me. I sidestepped and delivered a horizontal chop. Aiming for my head, I leaned back, easily dodging his attack. I nimbly took a few steps back. With a few quick shifts, I had already put some distance between us. Zhang Meng was somewhat surprised, but he still sneered. A flash of lightning appeared in his hand. Can you dodge this one? The next moment, 3 lightning-infused nails shot toward me. However, in my eyes, the speed seemed to be in slow motion. I leaned back and jumped to avoid it. Waves of mockery arose from the audience. This good-for-nothing only knows how to dodge. Does he think he can beat senior brother Zhang like this? Immediately, Zhang Meng charged at me again. He began to continuously throw punches at me, but I easily dodged them all. I even managed to stick my tongue out at him. So stupid. Is that all you've got? Zhang Meng trembled with anger. How did this guy's movements become so good? Then he drew the large sword from behind him. I don't believe you can block this. The next moment, his aura became even stronger. As his sword energy surged, a purple-black mist enveloped the surroundings. I instantly understood. His intention was to use his sword energy to restrict my movements. Thinking of this, I drew out the blood sword. It was the perfect time to test my new weapon. Then, I turned and swung a sword behind me. I exposed my entire back. Zhang Meng sneered relentlessly. Finally, the good-for-nothing showed his weakness. He appeared behind me in a flash, and kicked me with all his might. Instead of getting angry, I thought, I've got you. Immediately, I gripped my sharp sword, and swung it at Zhang Meng behind me. Zhang Meng stared blankly at the flash of blood across his chest. Then, with a thud, he fell to the ground. The audience fell into a ghostly silence, seeing the killing intent in Ling Yun's eyes. Damn it, I clearly have the strength to defeat the enemy with one strike. Yet, after the victory, I spat out a mouthful of blood. I looked as though I could die at any moment. Tao Yao quickly ran up to me. She asked with concern about my injury. I told her I was fine. Help me to the true transmission seat, where they can't see me. I let out a sinister smile. I'm sorry. These geniuses, the earthly treasures and ore are all mine. As I passed by Jian Lingyun, he keenly noticed my almost withering aura. He immediately instructed his subordinate, Chen Linfei, who was standing nearby. You're up next. Chen Linfei suddenly called out to me, as I was about to leave. He looked down on me and said, Aunt, dare you fight me? Tao Yaolon stood in front of me. Can't you see that senior brother Chu is seriously injured? What does it mean to fight now? Let Lingyun step forward to block. Since you've come to the life or death arena, you naturally can't avoid being challenged. Chu Xiu just won so many resources. I'm sure many of you aren't convinced. As long as Chu Xiu wins one more match, I'm sure everyone will be convinced. This is best for everyone. After saying that, he provocatively looked at me, trying to provoke me with words and challenge me. I spat out a few more mouthfuls of old blood. I can accept, but it'll cost extra. The system was stunned by my shamelessness. Host, you're not even injured. This is some despicable behavior. Hereby, you are rewarded 200 points. Jian Lingyun responded with an acknowledgement. What a fool. He knows it's a provocation, yet still wants to make the list. Su Tian rubbed his temples helplessly. It seemed like he was lamenting my impulsive decision, but I acted as if nothing had happened. Shouted again, take a chance, turn a bike into a motorcycle. Listen, a wild chicken turns into a phoenix. When they hear my slogan, those fools empty their savings. They all bet on me. It's a sure loss for them. I'm not even angry. I wish they would shout a little louder. As the elder's voice rang out, I returned to the ring. Tao Yao in the audience couldn't help but worry. Senior brother, you must be all right. I responded with a reassuring glance. Ling Fei whispered to me, actually, I didn't want to take action. But I also have my reasons. My junior sister is severely injured. She needs a very important herb. Only senior brother Ling Yun has it. For my junior sister, I have no choice but to fight for Ling Yun. Wait, you'll die. Don't blame me. I couldn't help but laugh. Such a touching story. But what does it have to do with me? In the next moment, I appeared behind him like a ghost. Chen Linfei hurriedly blocked the strike. Then he shouted at me, kid, how dare you sneak attack? Then I reappeared behind him. I pierced his heart with a sword. Then I gathered a fireball in my right hand, and with a pained cry, I slammed it onto his back. Chen Linfei crashed into the golden energy shield, and his life force dissipated completely at that moment. Beyond saving. This is when I finally spoke. I've always understood that villains die because they talk too much. That's why I generally dislike idle chatter. He was considered the most hopeless waste among the entire clan. Yet he defeated 2 great prodigies in a row, and he completely emptied the wallets of every disciple in Taisu Holy Land. Everyone stared at the arena in stunned silence. How incredibly lucky is Chu Xiu. He's only at the 4th level of the Wheel C realm. How could I possibly defeat a peak genius of the Wheel C? After the shock, everyone began crying uncontrollably. What should I do? I even lost my underwear. Tao Yao quickly ran to my side, admiring me with great praise. I pushed her away with one hand, and quickly walked over to the shining treasures. I packed it into the storage bag. Suddenly, I turned around and looked at junior sister. Do you have any spare storage bags? My storage bag is full. Tao Yao shyly tossed over a pink storage bag. Take it, senior brother. No need to be polite. After packing everything up, I took out the pill from earlier again. I still wanted to give it away. Unfortunately, there was no chance. This scene made those disciples erupt instantly. If I weren't unable to beat you, I would have beaten you until you couldn't find your teeth. I snapped my fingers lightly. Is no one challenging me now? If not, I'm leaving. After saying that, I strode towards Africa. The system dinged incessantly. Host, you are truly wicked. You're truly a natural villain. A reward of 200 breakthrough points is hereby granted. Tao Yao worriedly said to me. That Jian Lingyun is deeply scheming. You offended him. You must be careful in the future. I nodded. But such small fry aren't worth considering. After that, I returned to my cave. I took out the treasure I had obtained. A rough calculation. There was actually 16 million primal stones. I picked up a long sword that looked decent. Then I threw it into the system and clicked exchange. But the result was only worth 1 breakthrough point. The system patiently explained to me that the exchange rate of breakthrough points increases with the host's cultivation. Trying to get rich quick with such low-quality items is impossible. Also, a friendly reminder. Raw stones cannot be directly exchanged for breakthrough points. I stroked my chin and pondered. Now, I can only exchange these treasures for high-level magic artifacts. Suddenly, a familiar sensation rose in my heart. It was the fluctuation on the surface of the bronze lake. Who was my master talking to? At the same time, Tai Su sealed the Saint Lord and successfully informed Qi Mengdai about my initial comprehension of justice. He even specifically added that it was something he had witnessed with his own eyes. It couldn't be wrong. Then he started asking Qi Mengdai about my situation. Qi Mengdai was somewhat surprised. Could you be suspecting that he's been body snatched? The Holy Lord nodded. Then he denied the idea. Someone who can perform a soul out-of-body possession would at least be a lesser saint in cultivation. If one cultivates to the lesser saint realm, they would certainly have their own will. The place of origin. A person can only enter once in their lifetime, even if they are someone granted mercy. They cannot defy it. So, Chu Xiu might not have been granted mercy. I suspect he received some kind of heavenly opportunity. Mengdai, you must properly nurture this disciple. In the future, our great sovereign might even have one more swordsman. Qi Mengdai couldn't help but think. What a waste of time. I've become nothing more than an experience package for that rebellious disciple. Hearing their conversation, I couldn't help but laugh. My dear master, even the Holy Lord has spoken. So now, you'll have to help me train even more enthusiastically. After that, I came to Chimengye's cave. Master, your disciple has come again to ask for your guidance on cultivation. But his first words were a question directed at me. Why have you kept this from me? I asked him what he meant. What have I hidden? Of course, it's about you. When you found the initial advice, I pulled him into my arms. Then, how did you know? He reminded me. The Holy Master is the overlord of the Holy King realm. He controls the laws of space. The fluctuations you were searching for were detected by him. So, does the Holy Master intend to cultivate me with full effort? Chi Mengdia's eyes flickered. In the Taizu sacred land, there are no resources given for free. Even if you are reborn from the earth of the valley, you must fight for them on your own. I nodded in agreement with what you said. Then I lifted his chin. So, isn't that exactly why I'm here? To earn resources by relying on myself? I only need to cultivate with the world-honored one. It can enhance qualifications. I only took 3 hours. My mediocre spiritual route directly turned into a celestial one. Just now, I arrived at Chimengye's cave dwelling. I once again made a request for dual cultivation. Seeing his unwilling expression, I felt a surge of hot blood rising. Ignoring his resistance, I pounced on him. Because of my rough behavior, the system rewarded me with a bottle of 6th-tier crane top poison. 3 hours later, I skillfully tidied up my clothes. My aptitude also reached its peak. However, I also discovered, the improvements I get from dual cultivation are getting smaller and smaller. Is it because my cultivation is sealed? Suddenly, I had the idea of unsealing him, but I quickly rejected that idea. Who knows what will happen after unsealing him? So I got up and bowed to him. I've finished my business. It's done. The disciple should leave now. Behind the mask, Chi Mengdai gritted her teeth, vowing that sooner or later, I will tear you to pieces. After leaving Chi Mengdia's cave, I immediately went to the treasure-gathering pavilion. The guards outside the door, upon seeing me, couldn't help but discuss. He is that senior brother from Yunxia Peak, Chu Xiu. I heard he won 2 matches in a row at the Life or Death arena today. At this moment, a graceful figure seemed to have been waiting for me for a long time. Chu Xiaoran, an inner disciple of Treasure Peak, greets senior brother Chu Xiu. He saw through my purpose for coming here in one sentence. It's to sell the treasures you won from gambling, right? I looked him over with a smile. Is his junior sister perhaps a mind reader? Chu Xiaoran chuckled. Senior brother shone brightly today, winning so many treasures. Now that senior brother has come here, his purpose is unknown. After speaking, he stepped aside and ushered me in. Looking at his back, I couldn't help but feel suspicious. I had just arrived here, yet he was already waiting early. Why is he so deliberately approaching me? What is the purpose? I didn't say much. Instead, I just wandered around. My actions also left Chu Xiaoran confused. From the moment he entered until now, he hasn't said a word. I don't know what he's really thinking. I looked at the spirit herb in my hand. I was thinking about how to exchange for breakthrough points most efficiently. In the end, I came to a conclusion. The number of breakthrough points is directly proportional to the amount of vital energy contained. If I throw those cultivators into the system, would it cause the breakthrough points to overflow? The system agreed with my idea. As for being cruel, host, you're simply a genius. But I'm sorry. This idea is impossible to implement. At the same time, to encourage my creativity, I was rewarded with a top-grade spaceship. Chu Xiaoran in Africa was startled. I just seemed to see a flash of red light in his eyes. I turned my head to look at him. Prepare 15 million spirit stones worth of pills for me. Chu Xiaoran was shocked again. Is he planning to soak in those elixirs? After a brief moment of shock, he immediately agreed. After he left, I started looking around again. There's still 1 million yuan of stone left unspent. What a hassle. Suddenly, a corner shelf caught my attention. It was a small, inconspicuous piece of bronze. It actually resonated with my suggestion. While I was toying with it, Chu Xiaoran walked in. He said it was time to inspect the goods. I asked him how much the raw bronze cost. He smiled and generously handed the item to me. I threw him a bag of raw stones. I don't like owing favors. This generation of Yuan family is enough to buy him. After saying that, I walked away with big steps in his surprised gaze. Chu Xiaoran caught up. He said he needed my help with something. The dim look on his face made me understand my guess. That's right. After that, he followed me back to the cave. I broke the silence first. If it's too complicated, then you don't need to say it. Chu Xiaoran spoke. Senior brother, do you know about the Taizu Divine Tower? I nodded. I gestured for him to continue. The Taizu Divine Tower was the life source of the Taizu Emperor from back then. Its imperial energy combines both offense and defense. The inner world is all-encompassing. After the Emperor's divine transformation, it was placed within the Taizu Wind. It is not only the treasured protector of the Taizu Holy Emperor sect, but also the best trial ground for us disciples. The trials of the Divine Tower test a disciple's combat power, talent, comprehension, and willpower. The higher the level reached, the greater the rewards. The favor I want to ask of my senior brother concerns him. A month later, the Desolate Beast Secret Realm will open. If you want to enter the Desolate Beast Secret Realm, you must climb the Taizu Divine Pagoda and participate in the Divine Pagoda trials. The top 300 will see Realm Disciples and the top 1,700 Divine Bridge Realm Disciples. In the trials will be granted permission to enter the Secret Realm by senior brother Chu Xiu. There are also opponents in the same room, so I want to ask for my senior brother's help. Then his father whispered a few words in my ear. After hearing that, I lifted my eyelids in surprise. A realm that others need to cultivate for decades to break through. I've broken through 9 times in just a few breaths. But I'm not satisfied with this. I asked the system for the conditions to break through to the 10th level of the Wheel C. Very quickly, the system gave the answer. I need to use the humiliated Bodhi Divine Flower and the Soul Eagle Demon Bone. However, upon hearing these materials, I felt incredibly distressed, because every single one mentioned is something extremely rare and difficult to obtain. But soon, I suddenly remembered that Chu Shaoran said that many years ago, a disciple had brought out half a decayed Soul Eagle demon from the Huang Yaomi Ji, roughly translated as Secret Scripture of Wasteland Demons. If this is true, then I absolutely must go to the Tai Su Shan Tower. Countless African vultures soared over Taisu Peak 3 days later. The talented young masters of Taisu Holy Land gathered here. A message suddenly appeared on a nearby stone tablet. Ru Shui reached the 78th floor, ranked 7th in the Luanhai Cup. Tuan, Mafei, Yen Dynasty. Old Man Huang asked, "Who among them do you think is most promising?" The old man answered without hesitation. Ye's talent and foundation are excellent. Could it be that Yen is unaware of Huang Lao's assessment? Then I will wait with anticipation. On the other side, a flash of blood-red African figure passed by. It caused quite a stir. Mo Fian looked over in curiosity. Who is this person? The speed is so fast. That person is the true, top disciple of Yunxia Fengda. After landing in Africa, I jumped down from above. But soon, something rising beside me caught my attention. That person is Su Rushue, who just ranked 7th on the Luanhai list. At that moment, a bold voice came from the crowd. I also want to make it into the top 10. Let Taizu Tower in the middle of the road. I was a bit confused. I asked for this person's name. Yi Fan immediately recognized my identity. He cupped his fists and saluted me. And I also learned that his name was Yi Fan. I looked at the overwhelming aura behind Yi Fan and his protagonist-like name. I knew this guy was undoubtedly the protagonist. Soon, we started chatting. My amiable demeanor won Yi Fan's favor, making him want to be friends with me. Unbeknownst to him, I felt the same. Except my reason was simply to drain his chi. At that moment, my name appeared on the stele. I bowed to Yi Fan. It's my turn to be tested. Till we meet again. After saying that, I ascended the steps of the Tasu Pagoda. As the gates slowly closed, several pairs of crimson eyes appeared in the dark cave ahead. Howls echoed from within. However, despite their ferocious appearance, I was incredibly disappointed. Just a few Wang Kai. The next second, the demon lords pounced towards me. I gently stepped forward. Several crimson slashes cut through their bodies. If the trials of the entire tower are this boring, then it would be quite dull. Not long after, I had already arrived at the 67th floor. A woman with an elegant appearance appeared by my side. She gently stroked my face. I showed him no mercy. I killed him with a single blow. In my life, Chu Xiu, I've known countless women. You are simply too ugly. And on the 68th floor, four flames of different colors burned in the center of the martial arts arena. They were clearly 4 powerful individuals representing the 4 sacred beasts. Seeing this, I finally managed to gather some interest. But in the end, it only took an extra second. Soon, I reached the 98th floor. But there was only one figure here. It was Taizuzi, who is also at the peak of the 9th level of the Wheel C. However, what surprised me was that I couldn't see through his strength. You wouldn't be Taizu Emperor, would you? Taisuko didn't respond, but I got the answer I was looking for. I jumped out of bed and rushed up. Taisuko stayed where she was, unmoving. She raised her hand and blocked my attack. I only swung my sword at the woman in front of me. The next moment, I was sent flying 500 meters away. This made me, who was originally invincible, feel confused. What kind of monster is this woman? Not long ago, I looked at Taisuzi, who was also at the peak of the Will C realm, and smirked. Just when I thought I could win easily as before, Taisuzi simply raised her hand and blocked my attack. She hadn't even moved from her spot since the fight began. Even though I possessed the strongest physique throughout history, the primordial sacred body, I was casually knocked away by Taisuzi, who is at the same cultivation level. Even if he is the emperor, it would be impossible for him to be this relaxed. In the next moment, Taizuko actually charged towards me. I quickly swung my fist to meet her. An invisible aura erupted between us. But soon, I felt an overwhelming pressure. That woman actually formed another attack on both sides. But I couldn't help but reflect. An eye for an eye. A life for a life. Either you die, or I do. That arm pierced through my chest. I can hardly believe it. What a terrifying woman. Even the strategies I used couldn't break your defense. I lost my horse, and with it, the breathless Tasuko. The 98th floor, through the next moment. A golden light enveloped me. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself in an empty space. I couldn't help but furrow my brows. I had a strange feeling that a battle had just occurred, but no matter how much I tried to think, I couldn't recall what had just happened. In the end, I gave up on that plan. I turned to look at the several stone tablets in front of me. I walked towards the stone tablet with a small sword drawn on it. Ding, comprehend the sword chi and sword technique within half a day. The more you comprehend, the higher your evaluation, the deeper your comprehension. the higher your evaluation. Soon, I found that many images appeared in my mind. So I decisively shouted, "System, consume breakthrough points to learn sword techniques. Learn sword techniques." I don't know how long it took. The system prompted that I had already learned 1,000 sword manuals. I couldn't help but think. I now possess the strongest body and an initial sword. If I were to fuse these two, wouldn't that allow me to develop even more powerful techniques? Suddenly, my mind was illuminated. Only a heavy sword can bring out the full potential of the heavenly kill sword wings and the ancient saint body. So I gathered the image of a massive sword. Even with both hands to hold it, I still felt incredibly heavy. I exerted all my strength. I slashed down in front of me. The next moment, I cleaved the entire manual in two. All things are impermanent. The first is the annihilation of all things. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. This was truly a sword strike I delivered. It's terrifying. At the same time, in the heavily sealed square, Qi Mingzheng, the nephew of Qi Mengdai, kept teasing Chu Shaoran. "If you follow me, I'll ask my aunt to find a miraculous medicine for your mother. Do you really think that useless Chu Xiu can reach the 80th floor and get what you want?" Chu Shaoran pushed away Qi Mingzheng's hand. "Get lost." Then, he anxiously looked toward the Tai Su Tower. "You'll be fine." The next moment, a bell rang, and the waiting disciples suddenly realized that someone else had reached the top 10. Then my name appeared on the stone tablet. For a moment, the entire Taisu Peak fell silent. Chu Shaoran looked over in surprise. I was seen walking out, smiling happily. Chu Shaoran jogged over after a long wait. "Senior brother, you finally came out safely." The next moment, thunderous cheers echoed through the arena. I couldn't help but feel a sense of emotion. If they knew my true identity as Chu Lao Nu, they would probably just spit on me. It seems that my previous role as a villain was somewhat of a failure. Two figures appeared behind me. "Chu Shousheng mainly wants to see you. Come with us." After that, I arrived at the Tai Su Hall. I paid my respects to the Holy Lord and my master. Tai Suzi was extremely pleased that I was able to break the record. Hearing this, I immediately asked, "Since I broke the Holy Emperor's record, does that mean there is a reward?" I broke the record that had stood for thousands of years in the Tai Su sacred land. He was the first man to reach the 98th floor using the Wheel C path. And the first thing I did after breaking the record was to demand my reward from the Holy Master Taisu. Kaimengdi suddenly stood up. Eyes fixed on my audacious behavior. Taisuzu waved her hand, signaling him to calm down. Then she asked what reward I desired. I directly asked for the 3 treasures the system had me collect. Finally, I shamelessly asked the Holy Master for, "If there is only one, that will do." Under the mask, Qi Mengdai gritted her teeth. It seemed like she deeply resented my bold request. The Holy Lord was also somewhat surprised after hearing my demand. "However, there is nothing in the Holy Land that you seek, but I can send someone to look for it." I respectfully nodded. I also developed a stronger affection for Taisu Zi in my heart. If I could control the Holy Lord to be my crown, I wonder what surprises it would bring. The system is shocked by my rebellious thoughts. Truly worthy of the man I chose. He dares to think and act. After saying that, I really cast a spell in my hand. Strange symbols quickly flew toward Taisu Zi. The system prompt appeared in the next moment. I really succeeded in embedding the reincarnation Heaven Dry Mother seal into the Saint Lord's body, and this used up the last remaining attempts I had. However, when I was done playing with the purple seal that I could recycle, the number of uses increased to 2 people. Upon seeing this, I couldn't help but gasp. A scene featuring the Tianxian character appeared in my mind. My evil thoughts triggered the system to reward me with a middle-tier Danqing scroll. I didn't expect this to be a immortal grade spell. However, this spell has 3 volumes in total, and I only got one of them. But this still makes up for my shortcomings. After all, as a villain, how can I not know how to poison? Pai Suzy didn't notice what had just happened. Then, they rewarded me with some treasures to enhance my vitality. After Qi Mengdai and I left, Taisu Zi seemed to have a strange feeling. It seemed like something had just made me feel a sense of danger. After some inspection, Taisu Zi attributed it to a misperception of her senses. On the way back, I suddenly spoke up and asked the junior sister, who was serving tea, to leave first. "I have something to say to the world-honored one." Qi Mengdai hurriedly shouted, "No! You can't leave." Realizing her own impropriety, Qi Mengdai finally reacted, and let them go out first. After they left, I sent a soundproof and silencing barrier towards the door. I looked at the world-honored one with a mischievous expression. "At this moment, it's just the 2 of us in Africa. Don't let this beautiful moment go to waste." Qi Mengdai shyly and angrily took off her mask. "Rebellious disciple, you want to bully me again? Do you really think of me as a tool?" I leaned in a bit closer. "So, in your eyes, I am just that desperate." Then I grabbed the green fox mask. This mask is quite good. It perfectly conceals one's cultivation. Even Taizuzi didn't notice. "Your cultivation is gone." He praised me harshly. Not bad, even though the scent of my heavenly fragrance sacred body already clings to me, but it could cover up very well. Even the Holy Lord didn't notice. At the same time, he also breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he knew how to cover it up. Otherwise, the matter between him and I would have been exposed. Then he looked at me again. So, what exactly? Do you need for me to help you restore your cultivation? I handed him the black stockings I had prepared earlier. Try them on first. Chi Mengdai looked at what I handed over with some confusion. I continued to tempt him. I'll give you a reward if you put them on. Finally, under my coercion and temptation, Chi Mengdai finally put on the black stockings. Seeing this, I couldn't help but touch it. Chi Mengye's face instantly flushed red. She questioned me, asking what I was trying to do. I shook my head. Don't call me disciple who defies his master. Call me brother. Chi Mengdai shyly turned her head away. I'd rather die than call you that. 10 minutes later, Chi Mengdai was tormented by me until she was barely human. Yet she still wouldn't yield. I whispered in her ear, if you don't speak, I'll use a method of transmitting sound over long distances, and let everyone know about our relationship. Chi Mengdai gritted her teeth. Finally, she uttered 2 words, brother. After that, I gave Chu Shaoran the imperial silver veil to get rid of him. He also handed me the information about the soul sound demon bone. At this moment, I heard some disciples nearby discussing the heavenly ranking. A thin disciple next to me said that old demon Chu had been dead for so long, and someone must have replaced him by now. I just found it a bit amusing. The old demon Chu you're talking about is standing right in front of you. Suddenly, they let out an exclamation. The 4th place on the lesser victory list has been replaced. Originally, Zhang Xianling of the Yinyang sect had turned into Lu Hongyi. When I heard this name, I suddenly stopped in my tracks. Was it him? I had accidentally learned about the girl who deeply loved me. I, who had always been free of desires, for the first time, had a sense of urgency. So, I walked up to the 2 disciples. I proposed the idea of wanting to purchase the Tianji explosion in their hands. After seeing the number of people who came, the 2 of them directly gave me the Heavenly Secrets report. After I took the items and left, the 2 disciples finally breathed a sigh of relief. Senior brother Chu climbed the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion's Qianlong list. Now that I've angered him, it's like touching an iron plate. After that, I learned from the information above that the Holy Son of Yaoguang's sacred land replaced my position as the number 1 on the Little Saint list after my death. As for Hong Yi, she truly made it to 4th place on the leaderboard, but the information below made my expression change drastically. The remaining woman, Lu Hongyi, launched a surprise attack. An elder from the Red Dust Sword sect defected. The reason behind it was that the elder had been involved in the plot to kill me. I couldn't help but recall that figure. It's really something he's capable of. A long time ago, I met a girl in a meadow. Lu Hongyi told me that he was like me, that he no longer had any family, but I told him it was different for me. My family is still with me, the other side of the starry sky. Lu Hongyi ignored me, and instead, with excitement, said to me, since you've helped me bury my family, you will be my family from now on. I stood up and made a vow with her. From now on, we are family. With that thought, I used a 1,000-mile voice transmission to send a message to Tao Yao. Help me find someone. Soon, Tao Yao unexpectedly came to my side. His face was full of doubt. Senior brother, you're here alone. Is something troubling you? I told him I just missed home. Tao Yao pondered. Senior brother, it's been over 30 years since you came up the mountain. It was when your hometown was attacked by demonic beasts. That master brought you here. But senior brother, you're really lucky. You survived when you were 3 years old. Then he reached out and grabbed my hand. Senior brother, Qishan County is the holy land of your hometown. It's your home, too. Master and I are your family. If you ever miss home, you can come find me anytime. I smiled and agreed. You are all my wings. Because 30 years ago, Chu Xiu was able to survive. All thanks to my planning. Even Chi Mengdai was placed by me. Tao Yao's cheeks flushed slightly. It seems that senior brother has changed. He had been avoiding me every day before, but now he's suddenly so close to me. Suddenly, he stood on his tiptoes. He gently kissed my cheek. Then he placed a piece of intel into my arms. Then, shyly, he hurried away. I couldn't help but blush. How did I suddenly get kissed? Then I checked the intelligence in the letter. 3 days ago, Lu Hongyi appeared in Chang'an City. Meanwhile, Chang'an City was like a purgatory. An old man shouted to the sky, will you also be like Chu Laomo? Become an enemy of all humankind? Become an enemy of all forces? My Ji family will not let you go. We will tear you to pieces. Lu Hongyi swung her straight sword downwards. A flash of light blue sword energy instantly ended the old man's life. There was no expression on Lu Hongyi's face. A man in black appeared behind her. Where are you going next? To kill those people. Do you truly intend to make an enemy of the world for him? If he is an enemy of the world, then I will be an enemy of the world. If he is a Buddha, I will help him save all living beings. If he is a demon, I will slaughter the world for him. Meanwhile, I arrived at a desolate place. I began cultivating the divine technique of the 9 words true mantra, a reward for clearing the Taosu Tower. It is also known as the 9 mysteries. It is a powerful secret of heaven and earth. The 9 mysteries completed. Will make one invincible in heaven and earth. 3 days later, I took a breath. I had used it for so long, I haven't even grasped the first character. To this day, I've only grasped a little bit of the surface. An unexpected guest appeared behind me. The woman smiled sweetly at me. I am Yunfeng Elder, Hua Luofei. You are Chu Xiu, aren't you? Tai Su Sheng Di, the #1 beauty, suddenly sought me out. But she didn't come to talk to me about love. She only wanted to watch the moon with me. I looked at the mark on her chest, one that belonged to me alone. I immediately realized, the beautiful woman in front of me must be the holy sovereign, Tai Su. But I didn't expose her. Instead, I bowed to her. I wonder what Elder Hua needs from me. He suddenly sat down beside me and asked why I was practicing so hard. Was I planning to go to the wilderness demon's secret realm? I nodded. But soon, I couldn't keep my eyes open. His physique is truly impressive. I sat beside him. Elder Hua, there is something I don't know. May I ask for your advice on it? The fall of the era. Every 100,000 years. Only one human emperor or demon emperor will appear. The feud between humans and demons can be traced back to before the primordial era. But why, when a human emperor appears, don't they completely annihilate the demons? Or why don't the demons annihilate humanity when one of their emperors appears? I looked at him intently after saying that. Perhaps only he can answer this question for me. He told me, there's a certain unspoken agreement between the great emperor and the Yao emperor. No matter which side suffers a loss of their great emperor, neither will destroy the other. As for why, no one knows. But it said that becoming the Earth Stone will grant one all the secrets of the stars and the sky continent. I find it rather unbelievable. Is there anything stronger in this world than the Earth? Tai Suzy shook her head. I only know that from the ancient times to the present, 17 large landmasses have appeared in this starry sky, but there is no trace of them left in the world. Those that could become landmasses were all extraordinarily beautiful. As for why they didn't leave that place, or perhaps it was a difficult path ahead, unknown. After saying that, he stood up and said self-deprecatingly, we're actually discussing the problems of the Earth. It's a bit too ambitious. I should go back now. You continue your cultivation. Will we have another chance to meet? Let's meet again after you come out of the wild demon's secret realm. Then I'll wait for you here. After parting with Tai Suzy, I strode towards Chimengye's cave dwelling. A man's voice came from inside. Aunt, you must help me with this. You are Chu Xiu's master. As long as you speak, he will definitely give you the great Emperor In. Chimengye's expression was indifferent. It's not that I don't want to help you. Although I am his master, I can't ask him for things. Looking at the red-haired man, I suddenly remembered that he was the one who harassed Chu Shaoran that day. Thinking of this, I suddenly came up with a fun idea. Let him be my fall guy. So I tried calling his name, imitating Chimengdai. I heard you want the Emperor's camp to be killed. He looked at me as if I were his savior. He clutched onto me tightly, begging me to give him the Emperor's camp to be killed. I took it out. But this item was something I painstakingly obtained from the endless sea of flames. Chi Ming's eyes were filled with greed. I had even started fantasizing about using this to coerce and bribe him. Chu Shaoran exhaled. So he directly asked me to name my price. I told him 1 million. The item was a top grade. Chi Ming immediately agreed. He was overjoyed because the price I offered was reasonable. He was incredibly pleased. After taking the rough stone, I smiled and praised him for his good looks. As expected, he's generous. But I still have some left here. Do you need more? I can give you a special price. He looked at the stone in my hand with some stiffness. He secretly thought to himself that he must buy everything. So he asked me how much I had left. I then summoned tens of thousands of Emperor Silver Sands. Just this little bit. Qilin's eyes widened in disbelief. This is a little bit? He angrily pointed at my nose. Turning around, he shouted at Chimengdai. Auntie, this is highway robbery. Chimengdai showed no intention of speaking up for him. She directly told him to get lost. Chimin wanted to say something else. But seeing Chimengye's icy gaze, he could only leave in resentment. Chimengdai turned to me. You ungrateful wretch, why did you trick him? I smiled. When did I trick him? Then I went straight to his side. What did you just call me? Zimengdi stepped aside. He intended for me to take out a tickling feather. I'll give you one more chance. What should you call me? As I kept teasing him, Zimengdi still refused to speak. I instantly lost interest. I snatched the apple from her hand. The thing I asked you to do last time, did you finish it? Zimengdi nodded. After coming to her chamber from mine, Zimengdi took out a box. I toyed with it in my hand. Not bad. Then I picked up the stone and slid it across her body. This thing is very useful. It's very useful for your cultivation recovery. Chimengdai cried out in surprise. You're so despicable. You made me make this thing, only to humiliate me with it. She pushed him down with one hand, smiling brightly at him. Chimengdai immediately turned her head. I misspoke. I forced Chimengdai to spend her time off with me again. Afterward, I still just walked away. But I also discovered a secret. As long as her mood is high, the improvement brought by the double rest will improve. Soon, only Chi Mengdai was left alone in the room. A smile appeared on Chi Mengye's lips. This map just unlocked the restriction for me. It seems I forgot to add a travel restriction before going out. Then he sat cross-legged and began cultivating. The familiar feeling of cultivation appeared again. This joy of being able to cultivate was even greater than the joy he felt when first sensing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. But he quickly discovered that during the time his cultivation was sealed, his cultivation had actually made significant progress. Chi Mengdai sneered. You'll pay for this. The next moment, the spirit energy bomb he had condensed in his hand. His cultivation was sealed again. I whispered in his ear through a sound transmission talisman. I just want to remind the world-honored one, no matter how far the distance is, I can seal you at any time. Zai Mengdi angrily grabbed the person who looked exactly like me. Then she picked up a silver needle. She repeatedly pierced it through me. Suddenly, a banging sound came from her lower abdomen. Zai Mengdi looked a bit dumbfounded. Why do I feel like there's a flower in my stomach? 7 days later, countless disciples gathered at the entrance to the Huangyao secret realm. I stood in the crowd, not particularly noticeable. Tai Suzy stood at the entrance to the secret realm, announcing that within 30 days, you must gather at the initial transmission point. Otherwise you will be trapped inside. Until the next opening, what you get inside will determine your ranking this time. I yawned. I just hope he avoids me quickly. My only purpose in coming here is the Soul Eagle Demon. At this moment, Yi Fan suddenly appeared behind me. He shouted, and when I saw him, I was also a little surprised. This guy obviously has the fate of the protagonist. It seems this time, the trip to the secret realm won't be too much. Yi Fan spoke. He asked if I wanted to join him. Without much thought, I agreed right away. The moment I turned around, Yi Fan's expression turned extremely dark. Suddenly, a voice transmission sounded in his mind. After entering the secret realm, find a way to eliminate him. It's best if he dies at the jaws of a savage beast, so that even the Holy Lord's time reversal cannot trace it. Bleeding, gazing into the distance. Zai Mengdi, I've already arranged for several disciples. This time, we will definitely eliminate your precious disciple. At this moment, a spacecraft flew past him. Jian Lingyun was somewhat surprised as he looked towards Xiao Yifeng of Yunxia Peak. You two are brothers. Are you really going to harm Chu Xiu? Xiao Yifeng maintained his usual calm, serene smile. If he can survive, he's the senior brother. Hearing their conversation, Lu Shui couldn't help but smile. It seems I'm not the only one wanting to eliminate Chu Xiao. On the other side, two graceful figures approached me at the same time. Tao Yao looked at Chu Xiaoran in confusion. Why are you here? I came to see Chu Shixiang off. I asked. Did they come to find me for something? Tao Yao handed me a heavy sword. This is the one you asked me to find for you a few days ago. So I specifically rushed over to give it to you. Through the system, I also learned that this is actually a Horizon artifact. And it has a domineering name, the dominant sword of the Azure Dragon. I raised my hand to try the handle. It really suits my taste. The junior sister happily leaned in. Does senior brother like it? I affectionately patted his head. I really like it. With your treasure. This time secret realm expedition. Senior brother is almost guaranteed to succeed. I turned to look at Chu Xiaoran. He took out a storage bag. It's full of array formation materials. I hope you can help. Thank you, senior brother Chu. Regarding the previous silver sand, waiting for your safe return. Would you grace my family with a visit? My mother wishes to thank you in person. Tell him there's no need. And I've agreed. I will definitely visit after I return. At the same time, the gate to the secret realm shines brightly. Tai Susi smiles as she looks at everyone. The teleportation array is now open. The disciple Su Jing has qualified. Upon hearing her words, I turned around to bid farewell to my two junior sisters. She watched my receding figure. Piqiao angrily said, there are still so many things left unsaid. Chu Xiaoran cleared a path for me. There's something in the secret manual that my senior brother urgently needs. Naturally, he was anxious. Chu Xiaoran's words, with that tone of a mistress, instantly infuriated Piqiao. She warned him to stay away from Chu Xiuyuan in the future. Chu Xiaoran is neither hasty nor impatient. His relationship with his senior brother is open and honest. Senior sister, what do you mean by this? Senior sister, if you are this impatient and easily angered, it will accelerate aging. Tao Yao was completely enraged. Terrifying spiritual energy erupted around her. Is this a provocation? Within the secret realm, a group of people gathered together. Just how large is this desolate demon's secret realm? I heard from the donor that it's about 10 million li. That's equivalent to 1/20th the size of a man and a woman. Looking at the densely packed disciples in the distance, I also developed the idea of forming a team. As long as I follow that Yifan guy, I must be able to rely on his luck to find what I want. Suddenly, the leader noticed that I was looking at Chu Xiu. He ordered to kill me. Hearing their angry shouts, it felt as if I owed them so many spirit stones. Without hesitation, I turned and ran. I decisively summoned Africa, jumping onto Africa, flying towards the sky. But as I leave, the faces of the crowd are filled with cold sneers. I have a tracking compass that senior brother gave me. He can't escape now. To obtain the legendary materials, I, the Soul Eagle Demon, venture alone into the forbidden wilderness. However, as soon as I entered the secret realm, I was pursued by hundreds of people. While fleeing, I accidentally stumbled into the lair of a wild beast. There, I found one of the 3 major materials I needed, the Soul Eagle Demon Bone. Suddenly, a massive dark shadow loomed over me. It turned out to be a giant serpent, close to the level of a demon emperor. It spotted me. He opened his mouth wide without a word, trying to swallow me whole. I immediately used the Xingzi secret technique I had just grasped. Simultaneously, I used my self-created first sword technique to strike at him. Immediately afterward, the giant python's scream echoed throughout the secret realm. After dealing with the giant python, its flesh and blood transformed into black energy, coalescing into a black orchid. However, I didn't intend to keep him. Instead, I directly exchanged him for 70,000 breakthrough points. At this point, the breakthrough points I possessed had reached the 500,000 mark. So I opened the cultivation function, and I spent all my points on cultivating the Xingzi Mi. I don't know how long it took, but my understanding of Xingzi Mi finally reached the introductory level. Only after that did I look towards the Soline cashew on the mountain peak. But when I arrived here, ready to harvest, I found that the Soline cashews didn't seem ripe yet. The system couldn't help but taunt me at that moment. Host, your aura is practically glowing black. Just when the system thought I was shutting down, I unexpectedly flashed a mischievous grin. I have a way. Seeing my smile, the system suddenly had a bad feeling. But soon, they burst into laughter with me. Soon, the bright moonlight drove away the dazzling sunlight. The sound of prayer appeared behind me. What a coincidence, Senior Brother Chu. I didn't expect to meet you here. Seeing their enthusiastic expressions, I couldn't help but ask curiously, are you here to hunt me down too? Shen Mufan showed a kind smile. At the same time, he secretly communicated with the others to hide their killing intent. We won't be able to stop him. Let's hold him off first. Wait for the others to surround and kill him. Then, he put on a surprised expression and said, Senior Brother Chu, what are you saying? To kill a fellow disciple is a grave offense. Could someone be trying to kill you? At this moment, the girl in purple walked up. Senior Brother, who is trying to kill you? Tell us. Perhaps we can help. I shook my head in disappointment. I don't know who it is. Anyway, many people are after me. The girl grabbed my hand. Senior Brother, why not join us? We can help you. Seeing their determined faces, I can't help but sigh. It's a shame they're not going to the Oscars, but this junior's broad-mindedness is truly impressive. Shen Mufan whispered to a few others, this guy is just a lecherous soft-hearted fool. Look at the conflicted look on his face. Maybe they're still worried about our safety. As for their little schemes, I readily agreed. The girl joyfully hugged my arm. Senior Brother, this is wonderful. After that, I took them to the place I'd prepared for us to rest. I just happened to have made a whole roasted lamb. Why don't we all eat together? Everyone was clearly startled, but they quickly joined the barbecue feast, until they saw me drink the wine in my cup. Only then did everyone relax. It seemed the wine wasn't poisoned. After a few rounds of drinks, I suddenly spoke, a smile playing on my lips. How much have I benefited you all? You tried to kill me by any means necessary. These words caused everyone to be shocked. But soon everyone drew their weapons. When did you discover this? Shen Mufan swung his giant hammer at me. Silently, I recited the Xing character cipher. I dodged the hammer just as it fell. I am a bit helpless. Do you really think I didn't poison you just now? Everyone began checking their bodies. Sure enough, they found the dark purple poison. I looked at them with a bloodthirsty gaze. There is no alcohol in my poison. If you still want to live, I can show mercy and give you a chance. Then I threw the note with the plan over to them. Just follow the instructions on it. The bottle contains the antidote. It will keep you safe for 3 days. Once the task is done, I will cure you. To make them believe me, I even swore in the name of Chi Mengdai. If I break my word, his cultivation will never make any progress for the rest of his life. Far away on the other side, Chi Mengdai suddenly sneezed and returned to the previous moment. Upon hearing Chi Mengdia's name, the others finally believed my words. I will summon Africa again. Next, we just wait for good news from you all. In order to obtain a mature soul-in demon as soon as possible, I designed for countless geniuses to become nourishment for his growth. But even so, it's far from enough to nourish the soul-devouring demons. On the other side, Chen Mufan sent a message and called Yen Xiao. As soon as Yen Xiao appeared, he rebuked Chen Mufan and the others. What's wrong with you? You actually let Chu Xiu escape. Chen Mufan quickly explained, an hour ago, we encountered Chu Xiu here. Who would have thought that when he saw us, he immediately turned and ran. We couldn't catch up at all. Seeing Yen Xiao's gradually cold gaze, Chen Mufan took out a map from his pocket. This was something Chu Xiu dropped while fleeing. It records the locations where the soul thrush fruit grows. After a brief moment of shock, Yen Xiao asked him why he didn't go pick it himself. I don't believe you're that kind. Chen Mufan explained that the environment where the soul-in demonic bone grows is extremely dangerous. If the 5 of us go, we'll be going to our deaths. As long as you're willing to help me, then you only need to give us 5 an extra share. Saying this, he handed the map of the Soline demonic bone to Yen Xiao. After receiving the map, Yen Xiao prepared to set off immediately to obtain the Soline demonic bone. I sneered inwardly. This guy is so naive. Does he really think I'll share equally with you all later? Soon, the group arrived at their destination. Yuan Xiao reminded everyone that this gray fog could obscure one's vision. Don't spread out too much. A woman confidently stepped forward. Senior brother, you're overthinking it. Suddenly, the Echo Demon fruit emitted a chilling laugh. Everyone was startled. It really is the Echo Demon fruit. If eaten, it's a treasure that can directly elevate one to the divine power realm. Yen Xiao waved his hand and signaled everyone to stay calm and observe. This cashew is not yet ripe. It is said that ripe echo cashews are blood red. If one rashly consumes them, they will lose their mind to the yin energy. The woman beside him turned pale upon hearing this. Our time in this secret realm is limited. Should we remove it first? Then, a surge of bloody chi suddenly appeared. Seeing this, the woman quickly covered her mouth and nose. This is the symptom. The next moment, I heard a man's roar from behind me. Then he grabbed my neck tightly. You bitch. You killed my mother. For a moment, everyone began to kill each other. Yuan Xiao became extremely panicked at this moment. Everyone, wake up. But soon, everyone was trapped in the illusion. He died here. As the blood was continuously absorbed by the soul-binding demon bone, his color grew deeper and deeper. It wasn't until everything quieted down that they arrived here. However, the soul-binding demon bone still needs some time to mature. Seeing this, the blood chi sighed lightly. Let's wait a little longer. Meanwhile, a few people at the foot of the mountain looked very worried. Their voices disappeared. Could something go wrong? Just then, my voice sounded from behind them. A few didn't go up the mountain. Shen Mufan quickly explained, we have already sent someone up the mountain to collect it. So, can you give us the antidote, senior brother? I immediately saw through his little scheme. Not only had he failed to get the item, and even killed their senior brothers and sisters. How dare you still bite things? Suddenly, a loud earthquake-like sound came from the side. The terrifying demonic aura became even more intense. You brought this demonic aura, Chen Lu Fan quickly explained, but to no avail. The next moment, a group of half-beast men riding bull demons appeared before me. The human race has discovered the human race again. Kill them. When I heard this, I suddenly understood. It seems they were deliberately trying to hunt me down. So I decisively activated the Xingzi Ming command. I drew the great sword and struck down at the leading demon. This move instantly scared the leading demon out of its wits. I pressed the great sword against his head. Why are the demon kind here? They looked at me with increasingly distorted eyes. The demon hurriedly shouted at me, saying that a great demon from the other shore, Jing, had ordered us to ambush you again. Hearing other shore Jing, I also felt a hint of pleading. It seems this desolate demon realm is far deeper than it appears. Qi Mengdai, who verbally expressed such intense hatred towards me, became panicked and distraught upon hearing news of my supposed demise. Upon learning that I was safe and sound, she reverted to her usual cold demeanor. Not long ago, I struck down the demon before me with a single blow. The other demons witnessing this scene nearly soiled themselves in terror. The strongest bull brother was killed so easily. Then I turned around and looked at those unlucky ones. The rest is up to you. The woman asked me for the antidote. Without a word, I tossed the antidote to her. I told you, I, Chu Xiu, never go back on my word. After saying that, I left on the African plain. Seeing that I really left, those few demons became incredibly excited. The strongest one's gone. Then aren't these few just left for us brothers? Saying this, he surrounded the few. You can yell all you want. Yell until your throats are hoarse, no one will save you. Before long, Lao Zhu directly pinned the woman beneath him. Brother Pig, I will take good care of you. After leaving the valley on the other side, I began to wander aimlessly. At this moment, I suddenly noticed a familiar figure. I couldn't help but move closer to take a look. It turned out to be Yi Fan. However, Yi Fan didn't notice my presence. Instead, he was overjoyed at finding the quasi-immortal emperor's treasure. I watched him laugh, and I laughed too. I have to say, the protagonist's destiny is incredibly fortunate. It's a pity he encountered me. Thinking this, I immediately used the character wall Immortal Wing step to charge inside. Yi Fan looked around in bewilderment. Yi Fan looked around in confusion. Did something just pass by? I've already reached the depths of the cave. I didn't expect to find the. Looks like I can make a small profit here. Because of the dense spiritual energy here, there are also many rare immortal herbs. As I gather these treasures, my fortune begins to grow steadily. Seeing this scene, I shouted out, System. My luck is growing so quickly. Could it be because I intercepted the protagonist's opportunity? The system laughed and said I was shameless. But I do enjoy your shameless speed. I smiled. I looked at the storage pouch in my hand. I'm afraid with these treasures, even a pig could fly. Suddenly, I felt something. I looked to the side, and saw two treasures, one red and one green, not far away. It seems these two things are the most precious here. Just as I was about to take them, I suddenly noticed the white snake behind the treasures. It turned out to be a peak-level serpent demon from the other shore. I silently reminded myself to be cautious. I absolutely cannot trigger the mechanism. But just as I was about to act, the entire cave suddenly shook. When I turned around, I saw Yi Fan not far away. Yi Fan waved at me apologetically. What a coincidence, I also happened to find treasure here. Looking at the increasingly bright formation beneath his feet, he must have triggered the mechanism. At the same time, the giant snake was staring at me with its crimson eyes. In the next moment, it opened its massive mouth and exhaled a stench from centuries of not brushing its teeth. I immediately stepped forward, grabbed my treasure, and bolted toward the exit. You reap what you sow. Outside of adversity, several elders are stationed here. Suddenly, one elder rushed over. The life tablets of those entering the wild demon's secret realm shattered in large numbers. Chi Mengdai suddenly opened her eyes wide. She urgently asked how many had shattered. 775. Unable to hold back anymore, Chi Mengdai charged forward. Is my disciple's life plate all right? Upon learning that Chu Xiu's life plate was unharmed, Chi Mengdai finally breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, she felt embarrassed for having worried so much. Tai Suzy told everyone not to panic. Let me use the eye of illusion to take a look. In the next moment, a blue formation gleamed in the center of the area. At the same time, several giant eyes appeared in the secret realm. The disciples within the secret realm also noticed the blue eyes. The Yaozu felt equally terrified and uneasy. The human race is finally going to attack us. Inside the Yaozu's main camp, the Yaozu leader came to the mountain peak. Don't worry, no one can attack us through the Huangyao secret realm. Even a holy king can't stop us. Since they want to watch, let them watch as we massacre the human race. After saying that, he swung his sword forward. Kill everyone in sight. Then he took out a half-stone mirror. Blue ripples were flashing on it. He revealed an evil smile. It seems that the other half of the mirror has turned into a snake. If I can obtain the other half, and merge them together, I will be able to break through to the Dao Congqing realm. 1 second, Chi Mengdai was hoping that the beast would swallow me whole. The next second, she ran straight to Tai Suzy's side, and begged him to save me immediately. Because I am the only man in 3,000 years who has taken over his body. Not long ago, Taisu used the illusory eye to see the scene inside the secret realm. But what no one expected, was that the demon clan was brutally slaughtering the disciples inside the secret realm. Soon, an elder noticed that the leading demon was actually at the peak of the other shore. Didn't they say the secret realm had a realm limit? Chi Mengdai saw this, hastily ran to Tai Suzy's side. Master, should we open the portal ahead of time, so that the disciple can return early? Tai Suzy smiled and glanced at him. Why are you worried about your disciple? Chi Mengdai snorted coldly in her heart. I am not worried about that rebellious disciple. I am worried about the other disciples. Tai Suzy's expression didn't change. I've already made the arrangements. The light gate will open in at most 2 days. If you can't even hold on for 2 days, that would be very disappointing. Chi Mengdai nervously clenched her fingers. I wonder where that disobedient disciple is. She immediately dismissed that thought. He's about to be eaten by a demonic beast. Within the secret realm, a demonic army relentlessly pursues a disciple. Su Rushue is drenched in sweat. Prolonged running has depleted most of his spiritual energy. Seeing this, I couldn't help but sigh inwardly. The heavenly eye is monitoring now. If I just stood by and watched, my future holy son plan would probably be ruined. The next moment, I flashed to stand behind Su Rushue. Su Rushue looked back in some surprise. I smiled slightly at him. Junior sister, let me help you out of this. Su Rushue finally recognized me at this time. The demonic cultivator who reached the top of the Taisu Pagoda. But he was only at the peak of Will See realm. Every demonic beast here is at the Divine Bridge realm. Before he could speak, I already raised my heavy sword and charged forward. Su Rushue involuntarily cried out. The next moment, blue blood splattered on my face. The demonic beast that had driven him to a desperate situation was already impaled. Su Rushue looked at my tall and straight figure. My heart skipped a beat. He handles things ruthlessly and decisively. It's not an exaggeration to say he's the reincarnation of a demon god. I was still in a daze when he spoke up and reminded me. Junior sister, are you okay? Su Rushue quickly replied. I'm fine. I took a spiritual ginseng from my storage bag. This will help with your recovery. Shui looked at the lingji in my hand in a daze. She then glanced at our dying junior sister. She immediately made up her mind. Thank you, senior brother. This kindness, like snow, has settled in my heart. I will repay it in the future. I did not respond to her words. Instead, I told them to go to the transmission plaza first, and wait for the light gate to restart. After saying that, I touched the half-piece at my chest. Actually, I could feel his fluctuation seem to become very strong. To be safe, I should remove the soul spirit demon fruit and improve my cultivation as soon as possible. On the other side, our image had just been transmitted to the Taisu Plaza. Even female disciples were complimenting Su Rushua and me as a couple. Taisu finally showed a smile of appreciation. This person is kind-hearted. His talent is extraordinary. Quite impressive. Chi Mengdai couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief at this point. It's good that there's no problem. At the same time, the two disciples accidentally came across the soon-to-ripen soul-in cashew. Just as they were fantasizing about getting cashews, they suddenly noticed an uninvited guest nearby. They quickly recognized my identity. Then, both of them smiled at the same time. My colleague used telepathy and decided to send me to pick the demon. I cleared all the dangers. Then, I took action to seize the mysterious artifact. That disciple told me, this demon is worth a fortune. Extremely precious. You go in and bring him out. How about we three split it evenly? I directly rejected his proposal. The two disciples' expressions immediately darkened. Don't be ungrateful. Our master will help us get it. Perhaps we can spare your life. After saying that, the two of them drew their weapons and prepared to capture me first. However, I remained motionless, standing in place. I allowed them to use all kinds of tricks to trap me. Just as the disciple in red was about to approach me, I immediately activated the Xing character secret technique to evade. Then I drew my heavy sword, and effortlessly cleaved him in two. The disciple in blue was startled. I didn't give him a chance to escape. I grabbed my heavy sword and thrust it into his chest. At the same time, I kindly reminded him, if there's an afterlife, don't be such a hypocritical villain. Afterward, I tossed their bodies next to the soul-in demon fruit. In an instant, their crimson blood flowed into the demon fruit. I had only just broken through to the most basic level of the Wheel C realm. It triggered a once-in-a-lifetime thunder tribulation. In order to share the damage, I plunged into the demon clan's territory. I turned everyone into tools to help me bear the thunder tribulation. Not long ago, I finally obtained the long-desired soul-entangled cashew. As I took the fruit, the branches around me began to wither rapidly. I don't know how long it will take for the soul-entrancing cashews to grow back again. Soon, I heard the system's voice in my ear. Unfortunately, cashews will never grow here again. Host, you truly are a villain. You've even resorted to destroying the roots. You have gained 500 breakthrough points. However, host, are you planning to break through to the Wheel C realm, 10th layer, now? I nodded in confusion. He told me that because the second breakthrough was too aggressive, I was about to face the thunder tribulation. Upon hearing this, I was completely stunned. Is something wrong with your head? Isn't the thunder tribulation only supposed to happen after reaching the small success realm? In the end, the explanation the system gave me was just a guess. Maybe it's because I'm too strong. But afterward, I chose to wait for the right moment. At the same time, I began searching for the other half of the clean stone. Suddenly, I heard the cry of a demon beast not far away. Mosa looked at the gleaming stone mirror in his hand. He suddenly laughed. The one holding the other half of the stone mirror. Has the main force delivered itself to my doorstep? At this moment, I also realized something was wrong. Could the other half of the cleanliness be on that demon tribe's great leader? So, I turned back to look at the system. Are you sure I'll really face a thunder tribulation? Upon hearing its confirmation, I couldn't help but grin. Then, I appeared in the sky above the teleportation square in Africa. Most of the disciples inside the formation are severely injured. Seeing this, I can't help but sigh. These demons are even more ruthless than I am. It seems they want to wipe us out completely. At this moment, the dark, endless army of demons has arrived outside the formation. One by one, the disciples are on high alert. They all drew their weapons. Mo Sha laughed. Then he took out a stone mirror and scratched the defensive formation with it. The next moment, a breach appeared in the previously impregnable defensive formation. Mo Sha coldly swept his gaze across the crowd. If you don't want to die, hand over the person who possesses the fragment of reality. Hearing his words, I will use up the other half. Is this what you were referring to? This scene was also transmitted back to Taizu Square by the Heavenly Eye. Everyone's face was filled with worry. Why is Senior Brother Chu so foolish? Chi Mengdai was equally concerned. Now they knew he had the magic mirror. Either he would sacrifice himself and step forward, either be pushed out by everyone. No matter which choice, it's a dead end. Chi Mengdai secretly glanced at Taisu, but found his expression unchanged. Could he be planning to use the Emperor's remaining resources? At this time, a disciple came out. Brother Chu, you are a true disciple. Now that it's come to this, aren't you willing to sacrifice yourself for us junior disciples? Su Rushu immediately retorted. Do you mean to sacrifice Brother Chu? The disciple chuckled. Junior Sister Su, you're going too far. Brother Chu sacrificed himself for the greater good. Wouldn't you agree? Chu's brother, Su Rushua, blocked behind me. She spoke to the crowd. Do you think that if you hand over Chu's brother, the demon race will let us go? The sound of a gunshot interrupted her. I'll give you 50 more seconds. If he doesn't come out, I'll go in after him. Hearing this, all the disciples finally couldn't hold back, and shouted, Senior Brother Chu, hurry and go out. I patted Su Rushua's shoulder. Thank you for still being willing to speak up for me, but from here on, leave it to me. After saying that, I immediately stepped out of the formation. No one expected this outcome in adversity. Even Shi Mengdai couldn't help but move her face. Is this your choice? Mo Sha looked at me, full of admiration. You're not bad. You have more guts than those guys. I ignored him, but instead, I opened a small box. I saw the soul lingering inside. The demon sand revealed an incredibly greedy gaze. Quick, snatched the demon bone from his hands. In an instant, a dozen or so demon clans surrounded me. I bit down on the demon bone. At the same time, I told the system that I could break through. The next moment, a series of prompt sounds kept ringing. Your primordial sacred body is undergoing a transformation. The Wheel C realm is reaching its ultimate peak, directly ascending to the divine bridge, 9th layer. Host is about to face the tribulation of thunder. Please be prepared. As the system prompt fell, the entire secret realm was instantly covered by dark clouds. I raised my hand and unfolded the golden body incense. Since everyone is so enthusiastic, I'll let you try the thunder tribulation set. In the next moment, golden lightning swept over everyone. A moment later, my surroundings were completely empty. I looked at the stone mirror in my hand with some surprise. I didn't expect this thing could also resist the thunder tribulation. At that moment, I suddenly remembered that I still had a strange egg on me. Then a chattering sound rang in my ears. It was you, brat, undergoing tribulation. I curiously asked what it was. The little chicken pointed at me fiercely, telling me to watch my mouth, or it would eat me in one bite. I found it a bit amusing. The pressure in my hand unconsciously increased. If you don't confess honestly, I'll kill you. I clearly only have the strength of the 9th level of the divine bridge, yet I killed a peak beyond the shore great demon using only the power of my physical body. This made Taisuzi, who had been observing me, make up his mind to give me the position of Taisu Saint Son. Not long ago, Mo Sha raised his great sword and ambushed me, this chaotic language in his eyes. And I immediately reacted, drew out the great sword, and struck back with a single slash. The sword, which he took great pride in, suddenly shattered. The little chick in my arms was startled by my strike. The battle was enraged to the extreme. Defeated by a human. For a demon race. This is a grave mistake. But what awaited him was a purple sword light. I don't have the habit of letting my enemies attack again. At this moment, the disciples looked at me. Their faces filled with astonishment. And this heroic act of mine was spread back to Tai Su Plaza, which made them even more concerned. Why was I able to survive under the reflection of the Wheel C? How did Lei Jia survive that thunder tribulation? Tai Sui Zi turned to look at Qi Mengdai. Did you see it? Qi Mengdai nodded in confusion. Golden tears of blood. The green will see. A faint sound from the chaotic tomb. He is the legendary primordial sacred body. At this moment, he finally understands. He now realizes why his cultivation progressed so slowly back then. It turns out that it was influenced by the sacred body. Tai Suzi calmly said that Chu Xiu could break the curse of being unable to cultivate on his own. This act is indeed astonishing. The Holy Emperor has not yet chosen the Holy Son. He will return after that, so let him be the Taisu Holy Son. Qi Mengdia's surprised expression was evident. The Taisu Son retorted, don't you agree? Qi Mengdai gathered her thoughts. The Holy Son is not to be underestimated. It requires a joint decision from all the seal masters. Besides, his cultivation is too low. I'm afraid it will cause dissatisfaction among the other seal masters. Ta Suzi chuckled. She didn't pay much attention. As for Chu Xiu's performance today, I believe no one else would deny what I suggested. Moreover, I can feel that he is a kind-hearted child. Qi Mengdai snorted coldly. He is kind-hearted? You didn't see how he treated me. After solving all the trouble, Su Rushue ran to me, carefully asking if I was injured. I smiled slightly at her. It's just some superficial wounds. Yi Fan beside me couldn't help but sigh, truly strong, as expected. At this time, I also noticed Yi Fan not far away, and asked about the little snake on his shoulder. He smiled and explained to me that it was just an ordinary spirit beast, but I knew that this was the giant horse from that cave. He truly is the protagonist. His aura is truly defying the heavens. He then asked about the chick on my shoulder. I explained that its name is Chicken Too Beautiful, just a normal little chicken. After saying that, I grabbed the chick and squeezed it twice. It's actually pretty good as a stress reliever. 3 days later, I had completely recovered to my peak state. At the same time, I asked the system for my reward. After hearing that, the system obediently took out the reward. The upper volume of the primordial sacred body cultivation method. Cultivating this method can cultivate the primordial sacred body to the small city realm. Host, do you accept the transmission of the cultivation technique? Your primordial saint body has room for improvement. Should I seize this opportunity to continue breaking through? I nodded. But it was unlike what I imagined. Breaking through the saint body is completely insane. It demands every ounce of your body's nutrients. Only if my foundation is strong enough would I be able to stop. Then I threw the prepared pills into my mouth. It's a good thing I was well prepared this time. Otherwise, I might have been the first person in history to be dragged to death by a saint body due to insufficient energy. Then I looked at the now repaired reality system. Do you know how to use this thing? The system told me that this thing is at least a quasi-planetary level device. Currently, it has two functions. The first function is to slow down enemy movement through domain suppression. It can even directly freeze time. The second function is communication through temporary consumption. Seeing this, I immediately took out the original stone and placed it. In the next moment, small text appeared on the stone path. Because my sequence is high, it unlocked several functions for me, including the chat, Starry Sky Plaza, remote private trading space, arena, cultivation spots, and the battlefield of the 10,000 clans. I clicked directly. I activated the chat function. The reality changed. I arrived in chat room 17. However, the races and chat content inside left me deeply puzzled. And what is Hong Huang? Just then, Tao Yao's appearance interrupted my thoughts. A moment later, Tao Yao and I were grilling barbecue in the yard. Ji Tai Mei cursed and flipped Tao Yao the middle finger. Damn woman. Don't touch me, careful, I might eat you alive. Faced with his threat, Tao Yao actually laughed. Then, the carefree Ji Tai Mei asked where I had found such an interesting person. I directly tossed him aside. I asked him about the purpose of his visit. Tao Yao shyly replied, Senior brother, maybe when you have time, you can tell my little sisters about your experiences in the secret realm. After saying that, she placed a sachet on my chest. This is Tao Tian's gesture. Please accept it, senior brother. After saying this, she quickly left, just like last time. I picked up the sachet and sniffed it. Tao Yao, you do have a kind heart, but compared to our master, it's still lacking a little. Then, I looked at Ji Tai Mei with ill intentions. You still haven't told me what you are, and why you are with Shi Jing. Ji Tai Mei slapped her head. She explained that she should be a god. I don't know about the rest. After saying that, she ordered me to quickly kowtow and apologize. She also informed me that a woman named Hua Luofei had come to see me before. She said to meet 3 days later. Every time I went to find Qi Mengdai on weekends, she would refuse my request with various excuses. But this time, she was incredibly proactive. She even left a smile when I was about to leave. That night, because of breaking through the sacred body, it drained a great deal of my energy. So, in order to replenish the lost power, I had no choice but to seek out Qi Mengdai for help. Suddenly, in her sleep, Qi Mengdai woke up. Obviously, he was quite surprised by my sudden visit. Although he knew the purpose of my coming here, he still sternly questioned me about what I was doing here in the middle of the night. While unbuttoning my clothes, I smiled at him and said, I'm here to see my master. What else could it be? A flash of panic crossed Zimengdi's face. The next second, I appeared by his side. She gently sniffed around him. It was different from before. In response to my sweet words, Zimengdi did not resist this time. We continued like this for a full 6 hours. My cultivation aptitude skyrocketed, increasing by 200 years every hour. It wasn't until I reached 2214 that it finally stopped. Under my harvest, Qi Mengdai trembled uncontrollably. I quickly got dressed. Then I turned and walked out the door. As the door closed, a flicker of relief crossed Qi Mengdia's icy face. Meanwhile, as soon as I went out, I painfully clutched my side. I deeply regretted not sealing his cultivation. The system couldn't help but pop up to mock me. I really bring shame to time travelers. I ignored it. Instead, I recalled the moments I spent with my master today. In the past, every time, he would strongly resist. But today, he was incredibly cooperative. 3 days later, I arrived at the place where I had agreed to meet with Taizuko. In these 3 days, no matter when, I went to find my master. He has been very cooperative. Although I don't understand, my cultivation talent has been greatly improved. Right now, the most important thing is to figure out why he sought me out. At the same time, I need to test him a bit. I can't just keep forcing him. At this moment, a greedy spirit rat ran over. But when it met my cold gaze, the little spirit rat fainted right away. Taisuzi, disguised as Elder Hua, walked over, saying I was too fierce. I smiled and explained that I was just teasing it, that it was just too timid. He naturally sat down beside me, noticing my eyes. He smiled and asked me why I was looking at him like that. I suddenly asked him, Sister Hua is so beautiful. There must be many people chasing you. Hearing my words, Sister Hua smiled gently. Female cultivators' appearances naturally return to their true beauty as their cultivation improves, and thus become even more beautiful. But my appearance is nothing special. Naturally, no one pursued me. Looking back, they simply lacked discernment. In my opinion, my sister is extremely beautiful. Perhaps only this poem is worthy of my sister. Clouds yearn to be her clothes, flowers her face. Spring breezes brush past, revealing the flowers' rich fragrance. If it weren't for seeing you at the top of Yanxia Mountain, I would have met you under the Tai Su moon. Sister Hua, this is a bit surprising. I didn't expect you to be able to write poetry. The poem is good, though. I'm not as beautiful as the poem describes. I didn't respond to her remark. Instead, I turned and looked at her with a serious expression. Sister Hua, why don't you let me pursue you? Sister Hua cleverly dodged it, then turned and chuckled. Do you know how old I am? And you're saying you want to pursue me? I blurted out, you're really so big. Sister Hua quickly covered her chest. You're asking for a beating. I didn't expect you to be such a lecher. But I was only seriously expressing every man's right to appreciate women. Besides, age is not an issue. As the saying goes, a woman 3 years older is worth her weight in gold. A woman 3,000 years older ascends to the heavens. If I were to marry you, would achieving immortality be far off? Sister Hua giggled. Are you flirting with me? I smiled. I handed over a drumstick. He didn't bring up the earlier little incident again. Instead, he commented that my cooking skills were good. Seeing that things were going well, I took out the gourd I had prepared. Good sister. Want to have a drink with me? Finally, after my persistent nagging, he, who originally intended to refuse, relented. As cup after cup of fresh brew went down, the atmosphere between us became increasingly subtle. Seeing his gradually reddening cheeks, I also realized something was amiss. Sister, you're not drunk, are you? Sister Hua didn't notice anything unusual about herself. Instead, she immediately mentioned that I'm about to become the Saint's son. I even asked if the Saint's son had a lot of power. She told me, at least more than the power of an elder like herself. I casually wrapped my arm around her waist. Then I'll go and ask the Holy Lord. How about having him betroth you to me? 3 years after joining the sect, he became the revered Holy Son. This news instantly shook the entire Holy Land. Many people were dissatisfied with me. Yet, Xiao Weifeng, also a true disciple, was impotently furious in his cave dwelling. While I was still scheming for the position of chief true disciple at Yunxia Peak, why was he able to become the Holy Son without a sound? Chu Xiu, just you wait. I'll make you pay. On the other hand, I wandered aimlessly within the Holy Land. My purpose was to gather more intelligence. Sure enough, as I passed a pavilion, I overheard the news I was looking for. The endless prison and the Jiang family, and the imperial physician, the Holy Emperor, and various precious Dao bodies appearing frequently. It is said that the Holy Son of the imperial physician, Saint Emperor, possesses an invincible constitution, the imperial physician body. The woman in red looked somewhat worried. She wondered if Holy Son Chu Xiu could withstand these prodigies. Upon hearing this, I couldn't help but find it amusing. However, I did obtain the information I wanted. It seems this Holy Sun ceremony won't be so peaceful after all. By the way, I truly have a connection with that endless Jinyu. I remember 20 years ago, their Holy Son and Holy Daughter were a brother and sister. The younger brother's name was Feng Qingyang. He was arrogant. A fool who thought he was invincible in the world. He once looked down on my origins as an independent cultivator, calling me a member of the demonic path. He tried to stop me from going to Shihuang Tower. In the end, I killed him by the West Lake in Zhongzhou. His sister, Feng Yaoxi, sought revenge for her brother. She chased me to Dongzhou. But in the end, she was also killed by me. To this day, I still remember the resentful and unwilling look in her eyes. Before I self-destructed, the most ruthless ones chasing me are also the madmen of the endless prison. I suppose the ones causing trouble for me this time are likely the saint sons and saint daughters of this generation. After that, I arrived at the sect scripture vault. The golden 5 elements formation at the entrance surprised me. Even a great sage would certainly die if they forced their way through this formation. Even a saint king would need considerable effort to escape unharmed. However, as soon as I spoke, I was immediately captured. This formation was inherited from the emperor. Even the saint king would be injured if he went in. The person who arrived was Elder Su Jin, the guardian of the scripture pavilion. I respectfully bowed to him. I also briefly explained the purpose of my visit. Su Jin nodded. He motioned for me to follow him. As I watched his back, I couldn't help but sigh. In the Taizu Holy Land, one can encounter beautiful women everywhere. After entering, I was briefly shocked by the scene in front of me. I looked down at the sign at the entrance. It listed all the prohibitions for entering here. After understanding it, I went straight to the 7th floor. I didn't expect to run into the knight, who was also here. At that moment, he was holding a book. He hoped Elder Sujin would agree to let him take it, but he was rejected by Sujin because he didn't have enough contribution points. I greeted the disappointed Yifan. He seemed surprised. Then he quickly asked if I could lend him some contribution rice. He wanted to take the book from earlier. I refused, saying I also needed to exchange for ancient books. Yifan didn't mind. He quickly went to borrow from others. His urgent manner made me a little concerned. Could it be that he's found something good again? I went to Elder Sujin. I also saw the book he hadn't taken away, so I asked how many contribution points were needed to borrow the body refining book. He looked up at me. He told me it would be 50,000, but if you just want to read it, as long as you don't take it away, it's fine. I scratched my head a bit awkwardly. This doesn't seem right, but to my surprise, he directly picked up the body refining technique. He personally handed it to me. Rules are dead. People are alive. Hurry up and take it. After that, I found a quiet place, but I looked left and right and didn't find anything special. As I was browsing through the contents, I found one page very unusual. However, Yifan hadn't opened it, so how did he find it? Finally, I cut open that unusual page. It was actually raw Tiancan silk. It is said that this thing remains indestructible after hundreds of thousands of years. Now, it's almost never seen. Looks like his chance was stolen by me again. But the information recorded on it must be invaluable. Just like always, following the protagonist, one can easily find treasures. The cold and elegant master appears to let her rebellious disciple act recklessly. But privately, she would love to stab the bastard disciple to death. However, this time, she was too absorbed in venting her anger. I broke in directly. I caught him in the act. Then I pretended not to know. I asked Master what he was doing. But Master was like a child who had done something wrong, unable to speak. Finally, I forced Master to welcome me with open arms. I punished him for 2.5 hours before leaving. Meanwhile, on Yifan's side, he finally discovered the grand gift I had carefully prepared for him. Although this is a treasure map, it warns him not to block me. So, Yifan contacted his senior brother, Jianlingyun, and they arrived at the ancient cave recorded in the Tianyuan silk. Yifan believed that his powerful senior brother could definitely seize the treasure, and after dividing the treasure, he would owe him a favor. Jianlingyun was also very grateful to this junior brother Yi. He patted Yifan on the shoulder and promised that he would remember this favor. At this moment, he was thinking, so what if Chu Xiu is about to become the Holy Sun? As long as he obtains the treasure, he can stand on top again. But as the two of them gradually ventured deeper into the ancient cave, they sensed something was wrong. This place was filled with a sinister aura. It didn't seem like there was any treasure here. Until the very end. Screams echoed from the cave. Then, a hand reached out. Yifan, crawling out of the cave, looked terrified. This wasn't a treasure trove at all. It was clearly a death trap. If it weren't for his spatial shield axe, he would have died in there along with senior brother Lingyun. Thinking about it, Yifan stomped the silkworm silk hard under his feet. What a fool with a treasure map. Forget about it. Little did he know that this so-called treasure map was something I fabricated myself. And I anticipated that Yifan and Jianlingyun had a very close relationship. They would definitely invite each other to go to the 100,000 mountains together. Although Yifan, with his great luck, is hard to kill, Jianlingyun, however, is not guaranteed. As for the opportunity originally recorded in the heavenly Yuan silkworm silk, he is a supreme powerhouse, Huangjing, from Inca. This is a divine-level martial art. When cultivated to the deepest level, one punch can destroy thousands. When my cultivation reaches its peak, I will integrate it into the eternal structure of all cultivation. At that time, I will be even more invincible. Not long after, the news of the death of the sword spirit Yun arrived at Yunxia Peak. Xiao Yifeng learned that the Anti-Chu alliance was missing a powerful general. At this moment, I appeared before them with Ji Taimei. Seeing this, Xiao Yifeng quickly told me some good news. Jianlingyun and Yifan went treasure hunting, and died in the formation. Hearing this, I looked regretful. They were both disciples of the Holy Land. But Xiao Yifeng thought I was being hypocritical. Unexpectedly, at this time, Ji Taimei sarcastically said, your junior brother is probably suffering from kidney deficiency. Sissy. Xiao Yifeng, with a disdainful flick of his wrist, said, what kind of chicken dares to crow in front of me? Then he shot the hidden silver needles at Ji Taimei. The cowardly Ji Taimei covered her head in fright, but I blocked the needles and shot them back. This surprised Xiao Yifeng, who had expected me to make a fool of myself. Then I glared fiercely at Xiao Yifeng and said, second senior brother, do you think I'm easy to bully? Killing my spirit pet in front of me? Seeing that the two senior brothers were about to argue and make a move, junior sister Ren Hongying quickly intervened to mediate. In the end, Xiao Yifeng spread his hands, and said he wouldn't make an issue out of a chicken. At that moment, I received a transmission from the master, rebellious disciple, come to the cave to see me. Junior brother, junior sister. The master summons us for something. I'll excuse myself, senior brother. Then I went to master's cave. I asked master why he summoned me. Master took out a black and gold garment. He told me to wear it when I ascend the heavenly ladder. I received the garment master gave me. And I asked master, are you worried about me, master? My master said proudly, don't flatter yourself. I was just worried that you would die. And leave me, Yun Xiaofeng. The next second, I appeared beside you. My right hand gently embraced my master's delicate waist. Then I placed my left hand on their delightful head. I thank you, master, for the gift. I will surely repay you well, master. What should I do if my master and junior sister both fall in love with the senior brother, and my master and senior brother already consummated their relationship? One day, the junior sister told her master that she liked the senior brother, and wanted her master's approval to become Dao companions with him. The master, unwilling to reveal the truth, came up with a plan. She privately told the junior sister that her senior brother was not a good person, but the junior sister only felt that her master was being unreasonable. To stop this marriage, they actually smeared the senior brother. It turns out they wanted to ensure the rebellious disciple became the saint child. The woman first gave him a black and gold treasure robe, and then took out a scroll. It recorded the top sacred artifacts, and the peerless geniuses ranked near the top of the dragon list. This time, they are preparing to challenge and defeat the rebellious disciple, to show off their power, and enhance the prestige of Taisu. So I took the scroll and thanked my master for his care. But my master put on the fox mask, with an indifferent expression, telling me to hurry. At this moment, the main character of the Taisu Wind Saint ceremony had not yet arrived. However, the legendary heavenly ladder had already opened. The next moment, a ray of light from Africa appeared in the sky above the ceremony. 2 figures, one black and one white, stood inside. The eyes of everyone below were drawn to the white figure. They exclaimed that she truly was a heavenly fragrance body. She was truly beautiful. However, some people still turned their gazes toward me. The Jiang clan ancestor told Jiang Zong that I was his challenger. On the other side, the Taishang Laojun could not help but frown. I see that this child has the appearance of an early demon. How are you still alive? The disciple beside me, Zhou Yi, quickly advised the master to stop. If you continue, we might end up being trapped in the endless encounter of the Taizu sacred land. The fourth sword master carefully examined my figure. He felt that I resembled the self-destructed old devil, Chu. His disciple, Long Xingfeng, reassured the master. Even if I really am the old devil Chu, I will still slay him. The last family is the elusive Shengguan family. Shengguan Hao, a natural prodigy. His sharp aura tells his grandfather behind him that he will surely ascend the heavenly ladder. As for the grand ceremony of the Holy Sun, presided over by the Taisu Saint Emperor, it is the Peak Master of Tianqing Peak, who has long pursued his master. The Tianqing Holy Sun Grand Ceremony officially begins. Please, Holy Sun, cross the Star Bridge. The heavenly ladder Saint Master, Taisu Zi, rises into the air. In an instant, a bridge of self-reflection leading to the heavenly ladder was laid down. The bridge of self-reflection tests one's conscience. A short distance to the heart. If the Holy Sun harbors any ill intentions towards the Holy Emperor, he will fall from the bridge. If the Holy Sun's heart is unsteady, and swayed by worldly desires, then he will also find it difficult to even take a step on the bridge of stars. Walking on the bridge, I seem to have returned to the past. I was being pulled away by a strange girl in red to escape. Behind us were a group of people chasing with weapons and torches. In the end, Lu Hongyi led me to hide in a place. We escaped from the pursuers. It was at that moment, I wanted to become a stronger person than anyone else. That way, neither I nor the girl in red would ever be insulted or bullied again. Then, Lu Hongyi extended his hand and axe. He softly said to me, I will always stay by your side. The scene flashed by. When it reappeared, Lu Hongyi seemed to have changed. He scolded me for being too ruthless and cold-hearted. Why did I make him leave? To go into the mortal world with the sword? He only wanted to die with me. But these memories are only in my mind. I, standing motionless on the heart-asking bridge, am lost in thought. The disciples behind me, seeing this, start mocking, thinking that I can't even cross the heart-asking bridge. Master and junior sister on the viewing platform see me still not moving, and become quite anxious. They worry that I won't be able to cross the heart-asking bridge. However, at this moment, I am still immersed in memories. As Lu Hong reluctantly grasps my hand, she told me to remember to pick her up. She will wait for me in the next second. My eyes, which had been tightly closed, suddenly opened wide. I didn't expect that 50 years had passed since I parted with the woman in red. I must quickly improve my strength, to pick up this girl. Then, I quickly walked to the other side of the bridge with big strides. The crowd on the stands saw how fast I was moving. I'm very curious how unbreakable his thief's heart must be. And since his thief's heart is so resilient, what could possibly make him stop on the bridge for half a moment without moving? On the other hand, Master also thought to himself, that rebellious and disobedient disciple couldn't possibly be bound by worldly affairs. He must have just thought of his deceased parents. And seeing how fast I was, little junior sister Tao Yao was very excited. Raise your little hand and shout loudly, senior brother. Add oil. At this time, Master, with a face full of displeasure, asked Tao Yao, do you like Brother Chu? Tao Yao, the little junior sister, was asked by Master and her body froze. Then, blushing, she told Master, Master, I want to become Dao companions with senior brother. Master didn't hesitate for a single second. He directly refused. This disciple does not approve of this marriage. I haven't married yet, and my senior brother hasn't married either. So, Master, why should you be any different? No means no. You are not allowed to listen to what Master says. Then Master used a sound transmission technique. He let Tao Yao hear what he wanted to say alone. Actually, your senior brother is not a good person. Don't let him fool you. Leave the spot. However, Tao Yao didn't believe what the Master said. Instead, she thought that the Master, in order to stop their marriage, was willing to tarnish senior brother's character. What should we do if the Master and junior sister both fall in love with senior brother? Moreover, the Master and senior brother had already been married in practice. It happened on a certain day. The junior martial sister told the Master that she liked the senior martial brother, and wanted the Master to approve of her marriage to him. Not wanting to reveal the truth, the Master came up with a plan. He secretly told the junior martial sister, your senior martial brother is not a good person. But the junior martial sister only felt that the Master was being unfair. to stop the marriage. He even smeared the senior brother's reputation. It turns out that in order for the rebellious disciple to become the Holy Father successfully, the woman first gave him a black and gold robe, then she took out a scroll. It recorded the top-tier sacred items from all the major factions. It also listed the peerless geniuses ranked at the forefront of the dragon list. This time, they planned to challenge and defeat the rebellious disciple, in order to display their might, and to elevate the prestige of the fallen ancestor. So I took the scroll, and thanked my master for their affection. But my master put on the mask of the barbarian, with a cold expression. I was told to hurry. The main character of the grand ceremony of the pure wind Saint Sun has not arrived yet. However, the legendary heavenly ladder had already opened. The next moment, a beam of light appeared in the sky above the ceremony. 2 figures, one black and one white, stood inside. The gazes of the crowd below were drawn to the white figure. They exclaimed that she truly was a heavenly fragrance body, truly beautiful, but some still turned their gazes towards me. The Jiang clan ancestor told Jiang Zong, "That is your challenge opponent." On the other side, the Tai Saint Emperor ancestor unconsciously stroked his beard and furrowed his brow. "I see in this child the signs of an early demon. How is he still alive?" His disciple, Zhou Yi, quickly urged his uncle to stop. If he continues, he might be left in the endless prison of the Taizu Holy Land. The fourth sword master carefully examined my figure. He thought I was 5 parts similar to the self-exploding Chu Lao Mo. His disciple, Long Qingfeng, reassured his master. "Even if he really is Chu Lao Mo, I will also strike him down." The last family is the hard-to-encounter Shangguan family. Shangguan Hao, a prodigy, full of vigor, tells his grandfather behind him that he will definitely climb the heavenly ladder. As for the Supreme Emperor, the senior in charge of the Holy Sun ceremony, is none other than the one who has long sought his master, Tian Xingfeng. Master Feng, the main host, officially begins the Holy Sun ceremony. "Please, Holy Sun, step onto the heart bridge." The Holy Lord, Taisu Zi, rose into the air. In an instant, he created a bridge to the heavenly ladder, the bridge of the heart's question. The bridge of the heart's question, a bridge with a clear conscience. It directly points to the heart. If the Holy Sun harbors doubts about the sacred land in his heart, he will fall off the bridge. If the Holy Sun's heart is unsteady, he will be consumed by the mortal world. Then, on the heartfelt bridge, I could barely move a step. Walking on the bridge, it felt like I had returned to the past. I was being pulled away by a girl in a red outfit, running for our lives. Behind us were a group of people holding weapons and torches, chasing us down. In the end, Lu Hongyi led me to hide in a place. We escaped the pursuers. It was at this moment I decided I wanted to become a stronger person than anyone else. This way, Hongyi and I won't be insulted and bullied again. Then, Lu Hongyi extended her hand axe, and softly said to my face, "I will always be with you." The scene flashed by. When Lu Hongyi reappeared, she seemed different. She angrily rebuked me for being too cruel and heartless. Why did I let him leave? To the red dust sword? He just wants to die with me. But these memories are only in my mind. I am standing motionless on the star bridge, asking myself. The disciples watching from behind saw this. They mocked him, saying he couldn't even cross the heart-testing bridge. The master and junior sister on the stand saw that I hadn't moved. They were also very nervous. They were worried I couldn't pass the heart-testing trial. However, at this moment, I was still immersed in my memories. Lu Hong was reluctant to let go of my hand. She told me to remember to pick her up. She would wait for me the next second. My tightly closed eyes suddenly snapped open. I never expected that 50 years had passed since I last saw her in the red dress. I must quickly improve my strength. I need to go pick up this girl. Then I quickly walked toward the other side of the bridge with large strides. The crowd on the stands saw how fast I was moving, and were very curious about how indestructible my heart of theft must be. And since my heart of theft is so resilient, what could have made me stop for a moment at the bridge's edge without moving? On the other side, the master also thought to himself, this rebellious disciple could not possibly be held back by the mundane world. He must have just thought of his deceased parents. Seeing my speed, little junior sister Tao Yao was very excited. She was very excited. Raising her small hand, she shouted loudly, "Senior brother." "Go for it," she added. Master, with a slightly jealous tone, asked, "Tao Yao, do you like Chu Xiu?" Little junior sister Tao Yao froze at Master's question. Then, blushing, she told Master, "Master, I want to marry senior brother." Master didn't hesitate for a second. He directly refused. "I disagree with this marriage. I am not married, and senior brother is not married." "Why does Master disagree?" "No means no. You must not question Master's decision." Then the Master used the sound transmission technique, to make sure that only Tao Yao could hear the words he wanted to say. "Actually, your senior brother is not a good person. Don't be deceived by him. Stay away from him." But Tao Yao did not believe what the Master said. Instead, she thought that the Master, in order to stop their marriage, was willing to smear senior brother's reputation. She is a well-known goddess on the mainland. But the disciples she has trained are all warriors. The senior brother, Chu Xiuqi, treats him as a servant. He works diligently every day. only to gain cultivation qualifications from him. Junior sister, Tao Yao, was once a well-behaved girl. But recently, she has fallen in love with the senior brother. She wants to become his Dao companion. Even if Qi Mengdai told him that Chu Xiu wasn't a good person, it wouldn't change Chu Xiu's position in his heart. This made Qi Mengdai sigh, wondering how this world worked. Why wouldn't even his disciple believe his truth? While Tao Yao felt there was some misunderstanding between the senior brother and the master. After all, the Saint Emperor, elders, and disciples all praised the senior brother. Mentioning the senior brother, everyone gave him a thumbs up, praising his false righteousness. But Qi Mengdai told Tao Yao, it was all an act. He's very cruel, and then told Tao Yao not to argue. You can't follow the path. I, the true self, will never agree to your marriage. Upon hearing this, Tao Yao could no longer sit still. She angrily reproached her master for intervening in their love. Meanwhile, I've already crossed the Wenqing Bridge. Including the time I spent pausing to look up, it took me less than half an incense stick. The disciple in the coffin exclaimed, Senior Brother Chu is truly amazing. Breaking the record. Even Master Tianqing praised Mengdai, saying, this disciple of yours is excellent. A compassionate heart, firm Taoist resolve. Like a rock. I don't know how you usually teach him. In an instant, Master Qi Mengdai felt offended. She could only reply with, perhaps he is just highly gifted. On the other hand, what I was about to face was the main issue. Climbing this endless ladder to the sky. At this moment, the host Tianxing Shibua stepped forward. He called all those challenging the Saint Child to come forward and climb the ladder. The next moment, the top young geniuses from all major sects and families appeared behind me, surrounding me completely. They surrounded me. It seems like there are quite a few people who want to challenge me. On the far left, it should be the long siblings from the endless prison. They have golden rat tails. The one who seems to be the God King body should be Jiangzong. This person looks quiet and reserved. It's quite boring. The man in the long robe behind me signaled. He said he was just here to watch. Okay, polite. He asked me to go easy. The last person quickly assumed a fighting stance. Seeing me notice him, he practically couldn't wait to defeat me. But I don't take him seriously at all. You can tell he's just an idiot. Truly not a threat. However, someone was already losing patience. The siblings of the Yulong family couldn't wait and charged ahead on the sky ladder. The others weren't willing to fall behind. Each used their own tactics, striving to reach the highest point. But I just stood there quietly, watching these formidable geniuses show off their skills. But Sheng Wanhao said at the end that he was short on time, wanting to finish early. He said he would let me have a few moves. The disciple of Wenyan Taisu Shengdi was very angry, thinking he was getting too big for his boots. He dared to belittle the Holy Sun on our territory, waiting for death on the other side. After Sheng Wanhao received a definite answer, he took out his fan weapon, and asked me to take out my weapon as well. But I wasn't prepared to draw a weapon. Instead, I lunged at him with lightning speed. The next second, I had Sheng Wanhao's throat in my grip, asking him if he still wanted to step on me. Does the captain still dare to equip it? At this moment, the Shengwan ship had long lost its previous arrogance. Then, I kicked it in the face, just like a pig's head. At the same time, the Holy Master of Tai Su silently pinched the law enforcement talisman. Using spiritual energy, he bound Shengwan ship, who had provoked the Holy Land and been defeated. Then the Holy Master changed to a different method of enforcement. While saying, Shengwan Hao was pulled out, and thrown before Grandpa. Only then did the Saint Master loudly warn all the sects and families present. Taisu's authority is inviolable. Those who offend Taisu will be executed. Then the Saint Master looked at me and announced that the Saint Child would continue the heavenly ascent. I wanted to vent my anger for Saint Master's sister. I didn't expect that Shengwan Hao, this pretty boy, would be so easy to defeat. After continuing to climb for a while on the ladder, the twin mighty siblings from the endless prison are now waiting in full force. Unlike Shengwan Hao just now, they are ranked first on the Qianlong list. Many people question whether I can defeat these siblings. Because the man's name is the same as that of the deceased demon lord. The two siblings have come to the mountain gate with swords, seeking to eliminate the demon. You should know that I am the holy son of the great saint of the pure. Today is the grand ceremony where I am officially consecrated as the holy son. Yet, the twin swords of the endless sword domain show no hesitation. They immediately wield the legendary moon-chasing snow sword. Although each sword alone only unleashes sword energy of balance. When combined, their power reaches the level of celestial bodies. With the current strength of my ancient saint body, if I were to forcibly engage them in hand-to-hand combat, I will definitely be injured. So, I began my journey with the 9-character secret. The secret begins with me. I increased my movement speed and agility. Then, I summoned a heavy sword that matched my sword intent. With the power of the heavy sword, I forced the situation, ensuring I wouldn't fall behind. Then, using the advantage of the heavy sword's power, I directly knocked my sister, Long Shuiyue, into the air. Seeing this, Gij Long Qingfeng hurriedly stepped in, attempting to single-handedly withstand the edge of my heavy sword. But in the end, he could only dodge backward. As for the heavy sword, it struck the ground, creating waves of force. Safe now, Long Qingfeng gasped, still shaken. Yet he still stubbornly insisted that I die by their swords. But just then, Long Shuiyue attacked again with her sword. This strike really carries a bit of a fierce momentum. However, the flaw is still too obvious. I used the hilt of my sword to strike at his abdomen. I broke his sword technique, sending him flying. Seeing this, Long Qingfeng hurriedly helped his injured sister up. Then he took out a medicine pill to quickly stop the bleeding and had her take it. But do you still have time to take medicine and heal now? Could it be that they treat me as if I'm invisible? I never expected that they would actually ignore me. They struck a pose, while muttering, die. The next moment, a scroll unfolded above their heads. Then, within the scroll's coverage area, countless parts fell down. So this is the manifestation of the dragon family's twin body technique, the Qinglan Sword Pavilion. The disciples of Tai Su Shengdi below couldn't help but worry, thinking that I might be defeated under this strange phenomenon. However, facing this phenomenon, I did not retreat, because I am the Huanggu Saint body, specifically created to counter various strange phenomena. Therefore, I unleashed the Huanggu Saint body's strange phenomenon, the Green Lotus in chaos. The Green Lotus appeared. All is lost. In an instant, the manifestation of the Azure Blue Sword Master exploded. The resulting shockwave sent the dragon blood flying. The enormous change that happened in the blink of an eye left the audience shocked. They were very curious about the manifestation above my head. The well-traveled fourth sword master realized I was a primordial saint-grade being. He was puzzled as to how such a physique could still cultivate. In the chaos, under the guise of integrity, the Long siblings were helpless to resist. They could only use the sheepskin scroll as a temporary defense. So Long Qingfeng told his sister, Long Shuiyue, to hurry. But Long Shuiyue wasn't willing to let her brother face Wen Yan alone. I scoffed and wanted to leave. Did you ask me? None of you are leaving. Then I clenched my fists and charged forward. Since Long Qingfeng is tough to deal with, let's handle this first. Long Shuiyue's yellow spring fist shatters everything. I exert all my strength. Here comes my punch. One punch down. Long Shuiyue collapsed and coughed up fresh blood. On the other side, Long Qingfeng saw this and glared, his eyes filled with fury. He rushed over, wanting to risk his life to save his sister. In response, I could only kick him away. I directly kicked him flying. The disciples of the Tai Su Holy Emperor were very excited. What twin sword bodies! They were still shattered by our holy son. Yi Fan looked on and couldn't help but sigh, Brother Chu Xiu. That punch was truly precise. But why does it feel like something important was lost? Meanwhile, the fourth sword master of the endless sword desire approached Master Qi Mengdai, blaming him for allowing his disciple to act recklessly. Master, however, responded, everyone keeps saying they want to kill Chu Xiu. Now, they've only had their cultivation crippled. You're not happy about that? The junior sister, Tao Yao, also stood with the master, questioning him. The infinite prison is so tyrannical. Is there no one to stand against me, too? Just then, junior sister Chu Shaoran also appeared. The fourth sword master. Your two disciples are extremely talented. With a little more cultivation, they will surely recover most of their strength. Then, master, let him return to manage things when he's free. The fourth sword master, outnumbered, snorted and turned to leave. At this time, Chu Shaoran praised his junior sister, Tao Yao, saying, your senior brother is amazing. Tao Yao, knowing him to be a rival, told him to stay away from her senior brother. But Chu Shaoran said that he liked strong men. Just like Chu Xiu, who is so excellent. Powerful men are destined to have many women, and I don't mind being one of them. Master Qi Mengdai behind me appears calm and composed. But inwardly she's cursing this rebellious disciple for having so many admirers. I never expected that a supreme figure from the demon race would be a foodie. For a few pounds of meat, they came to challenge the Taisu Holy Son. However, despite his invincible physique, he couldn't gain the upper hand. He was completely outmatched by what he considered a mere sprout. Before this, I had already defeated the geniuses of the endless sword domain, and crippled the cultivation of the Long twins, the dual sword body siblings. Therefore, the fourth sword master of the endless sword will sought out Master Qi Mengdai, questioning her for condoning her disciples' unruly behavior. At that moment, Chu Shaoran also appeared and joined the battle. The fourth sword master was no match for the three women and was defeated, but the junior sister refuses to see her rival, Chu Shaoran. She asks him to stay away from her senior brother, Chu Xiuyuan. Master Qi Mengdai has no choice but to speak up and tell Tao Yao not to be rude. So the junior sister looks pitifully at her master, saying no more. However, privately, master wishes she could stomp on Chu Xiu, this troublesome disciple, who has caused so many romantic entanglements. And now, she has to help him resolve them. Meanwhile, above the ladder, I scratched my itchy nose, and felt like someone was cursing at me. But now is not the time to dwell on that. I should think about who to challenge next. The Heavenly Teach system suggests I go to the God King Idiot at the Shaojiang family's place. It depends on whether he still wants to duel with me. Noticing the movement behind me, Sha Yi Jiang turned around. I secretly thought Chu Xiu was too dangerous. I couldn't fight him. But I saw that he wasn't very willing to fight me either. But I couldn't be the one to provoke him in front of everyone. So I turned my attention to Zhou Yi, who was acting nonchalantly. Zhou Yi quickly turned around and sent a voice transmission to Brother Chu, asking to be spared. Then I sent a voice transmission to Brother Zhou. It's a misunderstanding. I don't like fighting and killing. Brother Chu is truly a man of strong character. Zhou feels ashamed in comparison. Among the five, Zhou Yi is the strongest. Next is the Divine King, Jiang Zong. These two are difficult to deal with, but still, ascending the heavenly ladder is the priority. On the other side, the Holy Lord of the Tai Su sacred land, Tai Su Pinchu, seems to have sensed something unusual. Then, looking into the distance, he said, "Guests have come to witness the sacred sun ceremony." Amidst the mountains, a giant demon, Jin Yuan, walked out. "Why did you come uninvited?" The demon lord Jin Yuan awkwardly showed his large teeth and laughed. "Tai Suzi, your insight is still as sharp as ever. As the heavenly demon lord, I've come alone to the human realm. Aren't you afraid you won't be able to leave?" Jin Yuan, however, is fearless. He said he wasn't afraid. "Tai Suzi, you must have ulterior motives for holding this grand ceremony. Let's make a bet. I will let a junior disciple compete on the heavenly ladder. As long as he defeats the Holy Sun, you will tell me your true purpose." And the Holy Lord also presented his own conditions. They are the Bodhi divine flower, the sacred Buddha divine fruit, and a rare treasure of heaven and earth. On the other side, Master heard about these rare treasures. He understood that they were all things I needed for my cultivation. The demon lord couldn't help but comment, "You have quite an appetite." He then told the spy woman to defeat the Taizu Holy Sun. She just needs to defeat the Taizu Holy Sun on the heavenly ladder. "When I return, I'll treat you to 3 days and nights of great sage wild beast meat." At this point, I had already reached the 3000th level of the heavenly ladder. I could already clearly feel the pressure on my body. If we ascend to the 9999th level of the heavenly ladder, and then use the system to break through, the primal sacred body will appear at this moment. The earth overlayered woman appears behind us, asking who the Taizu saintess is. Hua Tuo's Zhou Yi instantly betrays me. I look at the earth overlayered woman, who seems to be here for revenge. Zhou Yi couldn't help but think, what happened between us? Seeking my own experience, I also soared into the sky. On the other side, the female warrior was already wielding the Haotian hammer, wanting to quickly defeat me, and then go home to eat meat. How could I dare to receive that hammer blow from above? I quickly dodged to the side, avoiding injury. I never expected this guy to have such power with a single strike. How could his physical body be so strong? It wasn't until now that I realized who this guy is. The direct heir of the heavenly demon Jade. Rumor has it that his father is a great lord of the barbarian tribe, and his mother is the direct ruler of the demon clan. This woman is truly extraordinary, possessing the body of the celestial demon barbarian god. He is a supreme figure of the younger generation of the demon race. During the battle, I seized the opportunity to grab his ankle. Then, I threw him to the ground. The woman on the ground, however, found it quite satisfying, and remarked that the ancient saint body lived up to its reputation. Then, he used a phantom technique to create several shadows. She tried to trap me using these illusions, but I didn't hesitate. I chose a direction, and charged straight ahead. I didn't expect that the spy woman in this direction was the real one. I almost suffocated in her vast chest. The spy woman, feeling taken advantage of, immediately got furious. Her eyes red, she yelled, "Bean sprout, dare to take advantage of me?" Although I hurriedly explained that I was going too fast and couldn't stop the car, I still got slapped in the face. But with that slap, I fell directly to the ground, and took the opportunity to admire the breathtaking scenery of the Dai Di woman. While bleeding from my nose, I said, "So beautiful." The embarrassed Dai Di woman swung her hammer again. She forcefully interrupted my line of sight. She asked me to take shelter from the wind. It's decided. The butterfly woman decided to cultivate in that place. She wanted the Taizu Holy Emperor's son to follow her back to the heavenly demon domain. After being rejected, she actually knelt and begged Taizu's son for a marriage. It turns out that the butterfly woman wanted the meat of the great sage wild beast, following the Yaozun Jin Yuan Lai to challenge the Taizu saint's son. Unexpectedly, during the battle, I was attacked by the Dai Di Nu using the Luan Pai foam hammer technique. She wanted to hammer the human being sprout to death. Tao Yao and Chu Shaoran in the stands were also worried when they saw this. They were afraid that I would fall at the hands of the Dai Di Nu. My master, watching me being beaten, put himself in my situation, a face full of worry. But in the next second, the stacked earth woman actually stopped attacking, her mouth slightly ajar, making strange sounds. In an instant, the master and junior sister were both frozen in shock, shouting, "Pervert! Such a powerful map." It turns out that I found the opportunity to take the stacked woman down, and kept attacking her weak points. "Because you're a woman, I've been patient, not fighting back. But you really have gone too far." While fighting, the stacked woman suddenly got a burst of strength. Her straight legs bent, Zhou Yi worried about the situation of Dai Di Nu, while Jiang Zhou exclaimed at the overwhelming strength of the ancient saint body. However, after the beating, Dai Di Nu's face was flushed. Pointing at me, she said, "Bean Sprout, you're so fierce. This empress has decided to take you as my consort. Consort, come back to the Tianyao domain with me and enjoy the good life." Such a shameless rival left the two junior sisters speechless. He's asking the Tai Su Saint Emperor Saint Sun to return to the demon realm with him. On the other hand, Master Qi Mengdai appears unconcerned, but she's actually thinking of how to deal with her rebellious disciples' messy romantic entanglements. Seeing no response, Empress Dai stood up and took my hand, telling me she's already thought of names for our child. I left with him. Zhou Yi, the top-ranked student, quickly congratulated Brother Chu on his happy union. Even the simpleton Jiang Zhou said that Dai Dinu was a good girl. But I directly withdrew my hand, indicating that I couldn't decide this myself. I still have to continue climbing the heavenly ladder. The next second, Dai Dinu spread her wings and flew towards the viewing stand, kneeling before Tai Susi and requesting a marriage. As for this, demoness, Tai Susi was also at a loss for words. She boldly came to request a marriage alliance. So, Tai Susi looked at Jin Yuan, who was rubbing his aching head, and said, "Your words are not small. Do you want to take me, Tai Susi?" Hearing this, Sheng Zi, Holy Sun, responded. Jin Yuan explained that it was all a misunderstanding. The girl might have had some mental issues from being hit on the head. "I'll take him back now." After saying this, Jin Yuan stretched one hand into the void. He urged the deity woman to quickly follow him back. But the deity woman, caught by Jin Yuan, was very unwilling. She hadn't even asked what bride price was needed to propose to the Taizu. Amidst the mocking laughter of the human cultivators, the deity woman, who had lost her demon, was forcibly arrested by Jin Yuan. At that moment, the bell rang on the side. Then, Master Tianqing announced that the Holy Sun's cultivation had broken the record for ascending the heavenly ladder. It turns out that while the farce was happening, I had already reached the top of the heavenly ladder. Along the way, my body refinement speed was faster than the system's. Without fear, everyone couldn't help but marvel at the primordial sacred body. The body is invincible. In the same realm, probably no one has a stronger divine sense than mine. When I returned from the mountaintop to the mid-slope, two junior sisters rushed to my side to congratulate me. The reserved master, however, only nodded and said, "Well done." Then, he told me to go on stage to accept the imperial decree. But while agreeing, I told my master to wait for me. I would meet him later. Master Qi Mengdai did not refuse. He has come to find me again, just following that intention. He's proposing. Chu Xiu is proposing to the Holy Lord, Tai Suzi. He's asking the Holy Lord to give him Elder Hua Luofei. You know, Hua Luofei is the incarnation of Tai Suzi. Getting close to Chu Xiu is just to observe his heart's shape. So, how will Tai Suzi respond to Chu Xiu's proposal? In the face of the Holy Emperor and Holy Sun's request, let him have his wish. It turned out that after I completed the Ascension Ladder ceremony, my master let me go on stage to receive the Holy Sun's righteousness. But when I walked to the front of the stage, the Holy Lord gave me two choices. One is that the Holy Land will provide the resources needed for cultivation, and there will be a great sage protector to guard me. My future will be smooth sailing. The light is limitless. Secondly, the Holy Land will not provide resources or guardians. Everything you want must be created and fought for by yourself. This path's future is unknown, but it has no limits. The two female disciples below the stage, upon hearing this, chose without hesitation. The woman in black nearby said that they were destined to never become strong. For me, the first path has many advantages, but it's easy to be exposed. Choosing the second path means fewer worries, just fewer resources. But fewer resources isn't a big deal for me. I can always get what I need from Master and Sister Hua. So I told the Saint Master, after choosing the second path for myself, I will fear no challenge. I will fight for what I want. Once I determined the direction I wanted to take, the Holy Lord asked me to step forward. Then, he handed me the Holy Sun's seal and the Holy Sun's nameplate. When I took the two items symbolizing the identity of the Holy Sun in my hands, a thunderous cheer echoed throughout the entire Taizu Holy Land. The Holy Prince is unparalleled in the world. Finally, the Holy Lord declared the ceremony of the Holy Prince's ordination was a complete success. Guests and representatives, please proceed to Taizu Peak to discuss important matters. Holy Lord, please wait. Elder Hua from Daoyun Peak is not yet married. I wonder if the Holy Lord could grant him a marriage. Taizuzi, who was about to leave, stopped. He asked in confusion, "You want me to grant him a marriage? Who will be granted the next second?" My face began to blush slightly. Then I pointed at myself with my index finger. But the Elder Hua from Daoyun Peak was just an identity fabricated by Tai Suzi. It was as if Tai Suzi had just been confessed to in person. It was the first time facing such a situation. Tai Suzi was a bit at a loss. Her two small hands were awkwardly placed in front of her. I asked you, do you like him very much? What do you like about him? So I listed all the good things about him, like I was reciting from memory. For example, gentle, kind, considerate, mature, and beautiful. Although Taisuzi was overjoyed and very pleased, she still said she needed to ask Elder Hua for his opinion. If he agrees, I will resign for you. Please, please. I, your disciple, feel my aptitude is dull, and my cultivation is low. Please, master, teach me and resolve my doubts all night. Although this isn't the first time I've faced a disobedient disciple's request, Chi Mengdai still habitually refused. But in the end, he only covered his mouth. Avoid making unpleasant sounds. That would excite the rebellious disciple even more. Before being granted the title of Holy Son of the Sacred Land, I had already told my master that I would go find him later. So, after receiving the Holy Son's token from the Holy Lord, I hurriedly made my way to my master's cave, where Chi Mengdai resides. My master first asked what I discussed with the Holy Lord. Since the proposal ceremony had not received an answer, I had no choice but to tell my master that I only asked about some cultivation questions. Who would have expected my master to be a little jealous? If there are cultivation problems, why not come to ask me? Why bother the sage? Master, didn't I come to ask you? As I said that, my hand reached out to touch the long, straight jade-like earth. Master, disciple, please, I beg you. But the master said that now that I have just become the Holy Son, I am already so incompetent. I just wanted to ask you about leg techniques. How is that incompetent? The master stood with arms akimbo. It was as if the master knew exactly what I was thinking. You actually know? In that case, I'll just push the master down directly. Then, leaning forward, I pressed close and asked, what do you think I'm thinking? At that moment, the master quickly corrected himself, saying, I don't want to know, just hurry up. But now, master, do you really want me to leave now? The consequence of acting too quickly is that there's no way to respond. On the other side, at the storage cave of Yunxia Peak, Chu Xiaoran and Tao Yao, my two junior sisters, were waiting for me to return. Beside them, Ji Taimei looked at the newcomer, Chu Xiaoran, and said, Women, I see your extraordinary talent. I've decided to keep you as my pet. Hearing this, Tao Yao laughed. He's become so much handsomer, and he speaks so much better now. Sister, I support you. It's good to keep him as a pet. However, Ji Taimei glanced at Chu Xiaoran, a woman. Tell me, master, do you have a crush on him? If you want, I can help you. While Ji Taimei was coaxing Chu Xiaoran, a figure appeared behind a distant stone pillar. However, Tao Yao felt that Chu Xiaoran was too much. How could he have such dirty thoughts about his senior brother? But Chu Xiaoran thought that his senior brother wasn't just yours. In an instant, the two rivals exploded into a fierce battle between women. Ji Taimei, who was watching the drama unfold, kept directing from the sidelines. Anything like pulling hair, grabbing faces, or pinching nostrils, all came from her mouth. At that moment, a fist directly knocked Ji Taimei out cold. You weakling, you're up to no good again. Wen Yen, the two junior sisters, immediately stopped their battle. Everyone kept asking senior brother when you arrived. In the next moment, Chu Xiaoran immediately put on the appearance of a weak girl. She squeezed out a tear and said, Senior sister Tao Yao, I'm sorry, and then leaned close to me. She took the blame onto herself. It's all my fault. Don't blame senior sister Tao Yao. I just came to congratulate you on your promotion to saintess. But senior sister Tao Yao immediately scolded me as soon as she came up. But she really does love you. After a bit of a show, Tao Yao got so angry she started clawing and scratching. In the end, Chu Xiaoran said it was his fault for upsetting senior sister. If senior sister minded, he'd leave, and then slipped away. Watching Chu Xiaoran's performance, which was full of tea and drama, I actually found it quite amusing. He stayed overnight. Master actually took the initiative to ask the disciple to stay overnight, but after the disciple has finished everything, he won't recognize them. Once dressed, he'll go look for other young women. During the day, Master actively went to Tai Su Peak to find the Holy Lord. He reported that the demon clan might target the cultivation of the ancient sacred body. However, Tai Suzi felt that this was a crisis at the moment, a fleeting opportunity. Eliminating the demon barbarian's great sage battle power will cause the Taiji ancient star to open ahead of time. Upon hearing this, Master felt a surge of longing. If the ancient star opens ahead of time, Master would have the opportunity to become a saint king. The Taoist ahead, Tao Suzi, seemed to have guessed Chimengye's thoughts. He turned back and said to him, You must seize this opportunity. Then, he handed a box to Chimengdai. Have Master transfer this Bodhi flower to me. Thinking back to last night, teaching that rebellious disciple leg techniques all night, the world-honored one felt a wave of bad luck. I didn't expect to meet that rebellious disciple so soon. So after he returned, he sent a message summoning me to his cave. It wasn't even dark yet. Why was the world-honored one so eager to summon me? The world-honored one tossed the box into my hands. It was the Holy Lord who ordered it. Then he told me to quickly leave. Not to disturb him here. Disciple is here, showing concern for the master. How could that be a disturbance? Bai has already arrived. Shall we try the leg technique from last night again? Intentions, quickly get away. I want to come back in broad daylight. But at this moment, I am already close to the world-honored one, greedily inhaling the fragrance of the tears. Then, I grasped the world-honored one's small hand with one hand, and held the Western medicine with the other. It's not exactly broad daylight anymore. It will be dark soon. This time, I didn't push him down roughly, but slowly lay down, placing the world-honored one's palm on my chest, staring into his eyes as he approached. This continued until late at night. Only then did I part from the world-honored one. Entering the sage's time, I began to examine my appearance. At this point, my aptitude had reached 2,500 points on the scale. Originally, the blue luck increased by over 4,000. It turned light purple. Becoming a saint's son, I can actually stack luck. I didn't expect such a benefit. At that moment, a hand rested on my shoulder. Then, my master's soft voice came, "The night outside is already quite deep. Why don't you stay for the night?" Faced with such temptation, how could I resist? I quickly put on my clothes, pretending I was going back to cultivate. But my heart was thinking, what a stroke of luck. He even offered to let me stay the night. Who knows if he'd take advantage of me while I was asleep and kill me with a single palm strike. So I waved my hand, said goodnight, and left. Chi Mengdai behind me gritted her teeth. How could this map be so vigilant? It doesn't give any opportunity. The next day, I went to the sacred sun hall that was prepared for me in the Holy Land for the first time. Although consuming Bodhi divine flowers could break through this case to the extreme, I still needed a lot of spiritual energy from heaven and earth to successfully break through. So, I chose to come to the sacred sun hall. This should be one of the places with the most spiritual energy from the Taizu Holy Emperor. As I walked, suddenly several figures followed. They proactively greeted me, calling out, "Your Holiness." I turned around and saw that they were the handmaidens of the Holy Mother. Indeed, the Taizu Saint Emperor's domain is a blessed land. Even the handmaidens are so beautiful. Then I chatted with these lovely handmaidens for a while. I teased those girls brimming with youthful energy. Then I went to the most suitable place for cultivation in the Holy Sun Hall. The spiritual energy concentration here is visible to the naked eye. My cultivation speed here should increase by more than dozens of times. It seems I really came to the right place. So I went to the connected seats in the center of the moon lake. Then I sat cross-legged and meditated. I began to absorb the heavenly treasure, the Bodhi divine flower, for a breakthrough to my limits. With the help of the system, I successfully completed the breakthrough. I spent 100,000 points. There are 680,000 breakthrough points remaining. At that moment, a carriage passed over my head. The driver said to the person inside the carriage, "Your Highness, the princess. This is the legendary Emperor's holy hall." Having just completed my breakthrough, I heard the driver's words. I was very curious about the princess in the carriage. Stolen. Stolen. Barifai's first kiss, preserved for 10,000 years, was stolen by the newly promoted saint child, Chu Laoma, and he was lured with a storage ring. He was pulled onto a giant rock, and they completed a soul fusion. Chu Laoma had just broken through from the divine bridge to the beyond well in the saint child temple. I heard a carriage pass by in the air. I looked up. I realized that this girl resembled Zhu Biyue quite a lot. Could she be a descendant of Zhu Biyue? This girl is actually Princess Zhu Ziyue, the 7th princess of the Great Ming Empire. She has come to visit the Supreme South Jade and the Holy Taoist of Taisu. At that moment, a peach blossom floated down into the palm of my hand. Could it be that Sister Hua is thinking of me? So I urged Afu to come to the Sea of Flowers. Sure enough, Sister Hua was waiting for me with her back turned. Then I called out from behind, "Sister Hua, I'll come when I receive your flower." On the other hand, Hua Luofei pressed the button to compete. Then I congratulated him on his improved cultivation, and I complimented him on becoming even more beautiful. Following that, I took Hua Luofei's hands and offered them a flower. Last time, I mentioned the wedding ceremony to the Lord. "Sister, can you guess how the Lord responded?" Hua Luofei then withdrew her hand. She answered, "Of course, he didn't agree, because we're not suited for each other." However, I stepped forward again, grasped her hands tightly, and said that the Lord said that as long as you agree, he will grant the marriage. The sensation coming from my fingers made me feel quite good. And Sister Hua shyly asked, "Do you think I would agree?" "If you don't agree, sister, I don't know when we'll be able to meet again." Hua Luofei immediately became anxious. Why do I have to go on a journey just after breaking through to the beyond shore realm? But I calmly picked a flower and held it in my hand, beginning to explain that my wife didn't want to leave the Holy Mother. But staying secluded and not interacting with the world will never make one a strong person. Florify, standing nearby, strongly agreed, and said that she wasn't someone who cared much for romantic feelings. Then I took the flower from my hand and placed it near Florify's ear. Who said that being decisive on the sofa means you can't be romantic? I then leaned my body closer to Florify, so she could feel my passionate heartbeat. The atmosphere gradually became filled with tension. Hua Jiajia's nose was getting closer and closer to mine. The next second, I couldn't help but kiss her. Hua Jiajia's eyes widened instantly. She looked a little disbelieving. 2.5 minutes later, I finally let go of Hua Jiajia. Without any preparation, her first kiss was gone. Sister Hua raised her hand too, so I quickly pleaded for mercy. "Sister, please don't be angry. I couldn't help myself." Sister Hua immediately softened. She said, "Don't do that next time." And I hugged her, saying, "Next time I'll tell you beforehand." Even when she's angry, she's so gentle and charming. How could I not love Wenyin? Sister Hua said, "Don't treat me like a little girl." I couldn't say anything. Hua Luofei then took out a celestial storage bottle. It was a trophy from when she participated in the Tianyuan Great Wall Defense Battle. A travel storage pouch is inconvenient. You can take this. This space is bigger. But I only raised my hand, wanting Sister Hua to help me put it on. After Sister Hua helped me put on the ring, I asked her if she knew what it meant for a woman to give a man a ring. Sister Hua seemed a bit speechless. What could a storage ring possibly represent? But I told her. On the other side of the starry sky, there is an ancient star, where women give men rings, to express their hope to marry them. Immediately, Hua Luofei felt it was very strange. There is no such saying on the Tianqiong continent. When I asked Sister Hua when she would agree to your proposal, Sister Hua asked me why, with such beauty as Qi Mengdai. I didn't take advantage of her, so I swore that I had the utmost respect for my master, and never once had any improper thoughts. After I evaded Sister Hua's question, I placed my palm on his slender waist, but Sister Hua said the little guy isn't ready right now, just when he wanted to distance himself from me to stay safe. I grabbed his little hand. I'm no longer a little guy now. I'm a big guy. Then I pounced on him, letting him experience what a big guy can do. After our relationship took that final step, only then did I dare to ask what Hua Luofei said in the last meeting. Sister Hua pointed to the sky and said that the natural seal of the Taiji ancient star is about to open. This is an ancient star that only opens once every 2,000 to 3,000 years. Inside, there are not only countless rare talents and treasures, but the most precious are the ancient traces of Tao left by the earth. If the great sage's luck is strong enough, they will gain part of the emperor's legacy. With this, they can break through to become a saint king, become the strongest in the mainland. I heard it's a legacy left by the emperor. I immediately became energized. I asked Sister Hua about the specific time to unlock the bone heart. He's floating, he's floating. Old Demon Chu has completely lost it. After taking Sister Hua's virgin body for 10,000 years, he still fantasizes about tying up Master Qi Mengdai. Let him be my exclusive cultivation tool. And the seventh princess of the Great Ming Dynasty, Zhu Ziyu, who came to visit, is suspected to be the consequence of old Master Chu's misdeeds 50 years ago. Originally, after Flower Sister and I broke through to the final step, I learned that the Taiji Buxing will open within a year, and Master will go to search for an opportunity to break through to the Saint King realm. But what if something happens to Master? Where will I go to learn cultivation techniques? Or perhaps we should just seal his cultivation and keep him confined to the palace, where he can be a good little fairy. There's no need to take risks. Flower Sister noticed my worry from the side, and comforted me, saying that Qi Mengdai is no weak woman. Among those of the same level, she is one of the strongest. Then Flower Sister asked, "Little one, where do you plan to travel?" I hadn't thought about that. I'll figure it out as I go. Then I sat up. My eyes bright, I stared at Sister Hua. "Sister, you didn't say anything before I left?" Sure enough, Sister Hua instantly understood my intentions. She sat up and leaned in to kiss me. Finally, she stroked my chin and warned me, "If you encounter an insurmountable enemy, it is more important to preserve one's life." Early the next morning, Elder Wu brought Princess Zhu Ziyu of the Great Ming Empire to visit. However, the closer he observed Zhu Ziyu, the more he felt she was the descendant of Zhu Biyue from back then. Hearing that the Holy Sun was going down the mountain for training, it just so happened that the Great Ming Empire was ascending the throne. The Holy Master instructed the Holy Sun to return with the seventh princess to represent the Taizu Holy Emperor at the ceremony. It just so happens I don't know where to go either. Why don't we go to the Great Ming and visit the seventh princess? Zhu Ziyue quickly expressed that it was their honor. At this moment, he was secretly pleased. He had thought it would be good enough to invite a small saint elder. He never expected the Holy Prince would actually be willing to start fresh. But looking at the smiling face of Zhu Fuel, he remembered an incident from 45 years ago. Back then, I hadn't yet been besieged by the righteous path. It was only by chance, through divine powers and scenery, that I met the then crown princess of the Great Ming Empire. In my past life, I was debonair and dashing, strongly attracting Zhu Biyue. In the end, the two of us had a romantic encounter. We originally agreed to wait until my cultivation